Select Board Sewer Commissioners meeting to order. All members are present. The meeting will be held virtually and in a hybrid session and will be recorded by the town of West Boylston staff. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is public comment. This is a 15-minute period. It's an opportunity for the public to address any concerns, questions regarding town operations, programs to the board, with the exception of urgent circumstances. This board will not consider or discuss those topics, and they may be placed on a future agenda. I will open it up, and please come to the front, state your name, your address. Yeah, you raised your hand first.
Even though that's not the procedure, or is it?
It's not, but you normally do, so I just always.
We could have a cage match.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Mark Frieden, 8 Pinewood Drive. Good evening, members of the Select Board. I'm here tonight to offer, I had it write it out so it would be clear and I wouldn't mess it up. I'm here tonight to offer a constructive proposal regarding the proposed trash fee structure. While I recognize the challenges in funding the program, I believe we must ensure it be equitable for all residents. Board of Health waiver, first point. First, regarding the decision to move away from the pay-as-you-throw model, as it currently conflicts with existing Board of Health regulations, Board will require a waiver to proceed. I propose that the Select Board request a 1-year temporary waiver. A 1-year limit ensures that we treat this new $39 flat fee structure as a pilot program, allowing the town to gather data on usage and costs before making a permanent regulatory change. Point 2, protecting small generators. Looking forward to the future of the program solvency, if the program requires funding reassessment next year, we must move away from the one-size-fits-all approach. I propose a commitment that the $39 monthly fee serves as an absolute maximum ceiling for small quantity generators. If costs rise, those increases should be borne by the high volume generators. We cannot continue to lean on a flat fee that penalizes residents who produce very little waste. Any future adjustments must prioritize base cost plus usage logic to ensure fairness. It has a closing. I'll try it. I haven't actually proofread it. I ask the board to consider these two conditions, the 1-year waiver and the $39 cap for small generators, as a way to move forward responsibly while protecting our residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about the trash.
Do you want to just come, or do you want to wait till we have?
I don't know how you do this, so go ahead. What am I supposed
Yeah, I was going to say, come on up, just state your name, your address, and what your question is.
Okay. My name is Stacia Perry. I live at 9 Emily Drive in West Boylston, and I'm usually away for around 6 or 7 months, and I understand that your trash pickup is supposed to be $30 a month. I don't feel I should have to pay $30 a month if I'm not using it for about 6 or 7 months, and I was just wondering if you're going to have a seasonal part in that, where if you're not here, you don't have to pay for it. I know that's what they do down in Dennis and some other towns. So I just wanted to know what you were going to be doing about that. You know, snowbirds, and there's a lot of people that go away for a while. And I was just very concerned about paying $210 for something that I'm not using.
Thank you. I think we will have an answer to that in our section on trash. Yeah, okay. So a little later in the agenda, we are going through all the trash policies and amendments.
Okay, thank you.
I know we know you, but you still have to state your name.
Yeah.
Norma Chanis, 42 Prescott Street. So I'm reading this on the behalf of Ray Bacult, who couldn't be here tonight. He's offering this comment as an individual, not as the chair of the FinCom. Though the configuration of the trash enterprise is changing, if that be the collective will of the citizens in not wanting to deal with trash bags, so be it. That said, proposing a cost structure that assumes no increase in tonnage seems to ignore the facts as we know them and logical deductions as they relate specifically to past behavior in the town of West Boylston. Tonnage went down with the implementation of the pay-as-you-throw bags. It should rise again without them. Multiple external sources suggest an increased tonnage of 40 to 60%. With the enterprises proposed, it seems far more likely that there would be a notable increase in tonnage than no increase at all. If one uses the figures that Vanessa originally proposed of a 30% increase in tonnage, the monthly payment needs to increase to $41.29 standard and senior citizen for the enterprise to be liquid for the first 4 years. Obviously, the figure is higher if there's a larger tonnage increase. If the Select Board wants to pursue and endorse the current proposed figures, I think it prudent to be open with the town that the rates are likely to need revision within 1 to 2 years, or alternatively, since we cannot know what the answer is, the Select Board is endorsing an optimistic version of the likely financials of the enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Just, Julian, you can come up. I just want to, is there anyone in chat that?
Julian.
Oh, I mean, oh my God, Ann, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Is there anyone in chat no, I just want to make sure I don't get yelled at later for not recognizing the people online. All right, all yours.
All right, Ann Reminger, 55 Winthrop Street. I also have a comment. There's lots of opinions on this subject, and there's many valid points. I understand that. But trash tonnage, we need to keep the pricing tied to math, not politics. In 2023, municipalities with pay-it programs in Massachusetts generated about 32% less trash, even with carts, per household. The town pays for the disposal of trash by the ton, so the cost for the town and ultimately the residents will go up if tonnage is not kept down. So similar to Ray's point. Second point, cost. A higher flat fee, the $39 with the $30 a month, does not incentivize citizens to produce less trash. That's just that point has been made before. So pay-it bags are more fair to those who produce less trash.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you not hear her?
Oh, okay. Sorry. And then transparency, just wanted to say that the 5-year trash contract was signed back on July 2nd. There's been a working committee led by the current town administrator, made up with Board of Health, Solid Waste Advisory Team, Finance Committee, Department of Public Works, the town accountant, and the treasurer collector's office. And I may be wrong, but I don't believe this proposal that they submitted they wanted to submit at a select board meeting, was voted on. Instead, the board came up with their own proposal, eliminating pay-it, and then that was voted on. So I don't know if that's accurate, but that's my understanding of the situation. And I just wanted to point that out. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I saw we had a late joiner. No? Who's picking you? Anyone online? Going once? Twice? Okay. I'm going to close public comment. Next item on the agenda, to review and act on warrants covering the period of March 5th through March 18th as listed, and March 18th, 2026 as listed in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have new business, so in our agenda right now, we have a appointment to extend the acting police chief, Tom Belvin. Currently, I don't know, Carter, I do have your memorandum. I don't know if you want to read it in, or,
I mean, in simplest terms, the appointment expires, it expired at 12:01 a.m. this morning. Sergeant Balvin has, in my view, done a good job of keeping everything balanced. We do not know what lays ahead for Chief Minich, so we have designed this so that it relates directly to that leave of absence. I've spoken with the sergeant, and the same stipend that you all agreed with them back, I believe, in September, would be continued on. I think this provides continuity for the department at this time.
the only thing I would add here is my follow-up was this has it doesn't, the end period is, when our current chief who's on leave returns back. The parameters I thought on this, as our next meeting, we're interviewing finalists for the town administrator position. My thought is we do this often, but my hope was not to bound the incoming town administrator with a contract. Is there any options to do a 90-day extension, so that way when a permanent TA is sitting here, they can then go through the process to get to know folks and make a decision?
The challenge here that it is, trying to choose my words carefully, because we have someone out on a leave of absence. And I mean, the challenge is we just honestly don't know the status of that leave of absence right now, which is why we tied it to that leave and the desire to have some continuity. I do believe it would be at least 90, well,
that's where I was thinking.
based upon my knowledge of the normal timelines,
Yeah.
I think you're looking at June 1st anyways, which means a incoming TA would be dealing with this issue almost immediately upon getting here. So in working with council, we thought tying it to the current leave of absence was the best way forward, so we didn't have to revisit it anytime in the near future in an uncertain situation that will evolve.
With the language as it's put down at the moment, essentially, in your opinion, tie the next town administrator's hands to this person in this role, and
Yes.
not that I believe
This
this
is
person.
there tied to the current fire chief, the current DPW director, the current treasurer collector. When you step into these situations, you manage the people that you are given.
Fair.
I've only ever worked with one police chief where the department collapsed completely and they got to hire 18 new people all at once. You step into situations and you
No,
manage.
sure, and that question is not in any way to not show faith for the acting chief. He's done, I think, a fantastic job. I'm trying to.
My concern here is continuity in the face of a lack of knowledge certain.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
What is the end date you are proposing?
It's
When the current chief of police leave of absence ends.
Yeah, but that doesn't, that doesn't give us any,
You have no certainty as to when his
Yeah,
leave
we
of
don't
absence
know.
will end.
we don't know what will happen, we cannot go on with that. I think, I feel like, maybe we can give him an extension for 3 months. And also, if there is new things comes in, we could always put it in the select board and then we can always extend it towards the end of his term,
So this would be, the change here would be
3 months.
additional duties until the end of the period of
May
the
30th.
appointment, or the end of 90 days, and you know what I mean, to add some flexibility there. I struggle with I think we have a year and a half with our in the contract for our chief, so now we put this in a, I would say 90 days would probably be all I would be comfortable with.
What does Sergeant Belvin, what's his take on the situation? What's he comfortable with? Is he comfortable with?
I think he'd be comfortable not being acting chief.
Well, that's my other thing, is like, he did make it very clear to us that this wasn't something he wanted long-term. And now I'm looking at a no end date, which it could be, I mean, God forbid, I hope not the case, but I think there's another year and a half on the contract. He's done it from September, which is fantastic, till now, but that could be another year and a half. I would be comfortable with a 90-day, or my hope is chief comes back and it doesn't have to do the 90 days, but anything past that, I wouldn't be okay with a year and a half
So,
as an opening.
just my opinion on this, I hear what Carter's saying too, is, you know, the 90-day lines up right when the new town administrator is coming in. So happy medium, maybe we say 4-month, or if it ends, whichever one comes first type of situation.
Well-
I'm just trying to think of,
So,
Here's the question, though. What are the alternatives if not Sergeant Belvin?
I don't know. So
Maybe
to be
someone
honest-
else-
to be
someone
honest,
else may be in that.
I have no clue. I just know he was willing to do it, but it was, I mean, to hear, he was like, I also don't want to be called chief, you can call me sergeant, right? So, I mean, I have to be fair on this, like, he's been great in doing the position, but if, it can't be an open-ended it could possibly be another year and a half. I don't want to tie a new town administrator with that, and the trash enterprise account, and a school, and, you know, all the extra things, I think.
Which
I mean, I don't have a
speaks-
problem with 4 months, and then that way they're here for 30 days and can assess the situation and decide what they want to do and make the decision.
Which I might suggest speaks to the merits of continuity. To to amend this to 4 months means it needs to be dealt with shortly after the incoming TA takes over. You could have a situation in which your chief remains on his leave of absence. You have to fill that gap with no certainty as to when it's going to end, creating another unsettled situation. And with due respect, and I probably shouldn't say that, because that always sounds like there isn't any respect when it's said, you know, but I have to suggest that this community could use as much continuity in staffing and settled matters wherever it can find it.
I think,
can I? I'm not disputing any of those. What I'm saying is, you know, and also, you know, we don't know whether the new town administrator will be in place by June 1st. That's also up in the air. We don't know. And also, you know, even if it is June 1st, you will be there until June 1st. So we have select board meetings, 2 select board meetings in a month. So you could easily make another extension for Sergeant Baldwin, right? That's my view.
I think we're really fortunate that we have somebody in the person of Sergeant Belvin that can take the lead and run the department in the absence of the chief. I don't know that there are other options, if not Sergeant Belvin. Where would you find an interim acting chief? Perhaps from internally, but that person hasn't stepped forward, we don't know. And to Carter's point, it would be really nice to have a level of continuity here.
Oh, I'm not disputing that, yes, definitely. But we don't have to give an open-ended appointment. That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand why there would be an issue with,
I have an issue with it being open-ended for a year and a half, and I would say this was something, the appointment happened in September. It was actually a push from the Selectboard to the town administrator at the time that after several months, there needed to be a appointment to someone that was deemed to run the department. That was met with contention. I actually brought that forward to say it's been several months and we need I don't know the current circumstances, but we need someone in the seat or be blessed or deemed or however we do this. I'm happy with the placement, but I also don't know how it came to be, how the selection happened, was there an interview where everyone in the department asked? I'm not really sure how this is structured, but I would still be in the place that I'm okay with 4 months, but to be open-ended, especially with a stipend, I mean, any type of amount, I wouldn't be okay with it. I don't think it's appropriate as much as we can give the power to the new town administrator coming in certain situations. If they're here for 30 days, I imagine they're gonna have one-on-ones and get to know folks and be able to make their own decisions, and instead of the select board making it for them.
May I ask a clarifying point? The role of the select board here is to either approve or disapprove of the town administrator's actions, correct, Carter?
That is correct.
So are the two options we have in front of us either approve this appointment or disapprove of it?
Those are the only two options in front of
And
you.
if we disapprove of it,
I'll have to figure out Plan B and
Can,
Come back to you.
can we modify the end date?
no, sir, you cannot. You ratify the town administrator's appointment in this instance, or you reject the appointment in this
Yeah, but
instance.
the problem is, so
the problem is that we have two
today is the
choices.
last day. Today is the last day.
We have two choices.
There are two choices.
So which I would prefer not to, but it does seem, Carter isn't open to modifying the end date. The vote would need to be a 4-1, meaning to disapprove this, you would need 4 members of the board to disapprove the appointment.
So
I
my
can
question is,
head down that path.
I would like to speak to the issue of amending the end date. I would not feel comfortable in doing that without having had an opportunity to discuss it with the appointee. I just don't think that's, God forbid, fair. to them.
So do we want to put this on the next agenda with the understanding that he would still receive his stipend, act in the role, and you'd have a chance to work with him? I mean, that, or we could take the vote that's in front of
I work at
us.
the board's direction. I will not, I work at the board's direction.
Unless we've had
So what-
specific,
what's the worst will happen if you appoint him, whatever his things, endless? Nothing will happen, right? So what only thing will happen is, maybe the chief will come back, then he will ask for his job back. Or the new town administrator could say, hey, this has been there for a long time, maybe we can go out and look for another,
I have a little experience in this.
yeah.
I would normally, but after 5 years of sitting in the seat, I know a few things. First, we usually take a vote with, in this situation, very little information, and we kind of say, okay, we hope someone will come back, or we're not gonna, pay the additional cost here for another 1.5 years. But we don't really have any information, so we can vote to extend this, and then we've had this happen a few times. The town administrator that comes in says, you guys made this decision, and I really wish you had waited. I actually have had to have this twice, so I'm trying to respect the fact that we make decisions sometimes not with all the information, but also tying the hands of the person coming in. Carter, I'm gonna use the example of you. You came into kind of a trash enterprise account, and all of us were like, it'll be fine, but none of us really.
I still think Raj
I-
undersold it. I'm
So,
still looking at
I
that guy.
correlate it to this, it's, we make the decisions based on the information we have, and sometimes they're not always right, but in this case, it has happened in 2 separate occasions to me where someone has come in and said, you guys made this vote and this decision before I got here, and now I'm stuck with it until X period of time. And if I can
It
make
is always a challenge whenever any of our employees are on a leave of unknown duration. You know that I have met with or talked with each of the individuals, and I have done my best within the limits
Yep.
of statute and the charter to keep you informed on that.
And mine's not around the situation, it's just I want to leave. I would, right now, it could be a year and a half. That's what's left on the current one. That would be what we're tying a new person coming into, irregardless, right? But if I can leave, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm happy to vote on this, but I would say,
Let me just say that this went 4 months, and the sergeant and I discussed it, and he was agreeable.
what if the sergeant doesn't like the new TA in 4
Having
months?
had his future discussed at length on cable TV. And the new TA and he agree they're gonna try to search for an interim. How long?
But that's.
How
he's-
long is that interim gonna be here? He has no clue, because it's not in your hands at all. It's not, you started the search for the TA, you created the committee, you went through the march, you had a pretty good idea of what the timeline might look like. In this instance, you simply do not have a timeline due to the circumstances. So,
Is the sergeant good with understanding that, I mean, I say this based on him coming to the select board in a public meeting, right? So this was here, so this isn't something new, this was during a public meeting. Is he okay with this if this turns into a year and a half? Like, I don't know enough.
well,
To say that.
like any of us interims, he could resign at any time.
Would like that not to happen either, so.
I would like that not to happen either, and I don't see any reason why it should. So let me just, before we get, some folks on Facebook, I don't see any reason.
Oh, they should, they'll just post it about me, it'll be fine.
You're in
He's-
an unknown situation with a known commodity, and it is my personal belief that anything that can lend some continuity to the organization and some assured level of leadership for that staff and the staff that works with is in the best overall interest of the organization. At the end of the day, I propose and you dispose. You've heard it once before.
I know,
It's
I
up to
was
this
just
board.
trying not to be in a situation where there's someone else sitting in that seat telling me, well, you made this decision, I'm just trying to live through it and it be a decision that we made, but I would say leave that. There's, this would be, the proposed motions are in front of you, it's an either or, and I will,
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed? Next item is.
Thank you for the unanimous consensus after the debate. I do appreciate that.
We're not gonna do that on trash, though. Trash, we're really gonna,
You don't think we'll reach a consensus?
no,
on that?
we will. All right, the appointments of the special traffic constables, they are listed, do I have in your packets, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
No, I have a question.
Oh,
Is
okay.
there any, again, this one looks like open-ended.
They are. These positions are without term.
They normally are without term, though, right?
The regular appointment.
Yeah, well, the constables are, because they're only,
So they are not the town employees.
They're basically for off-duty
Part-times.
details when they can't meet the needs of contractors or even adjacent towns. Towns do call upon each other if they have a project in their town that they just can't satisfy. So to the extent we pay them and get repaid, yes.
I'm all set, thank you.
all right, I had a motion, I had a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have an appointment of Doug to the Conservation Committee for, sorry, what's the dates on this one? For a term ending 4/30/27, so it's a one-year appointment?
So moved.
A little over a year because you have 3 alternates and we try to line them up with your, 26, 27, 28.
Got
So
it.
that they're on rotation.
Okay.
Second.
So moved.
All in
I
favor?
just have a quick question. Was there an opening for this? There was an open, so somebody, okay, that's all I was wondering.
You still have, if I might make a pitch, there's still one.
They might put it on Facebook, go for it.
There's still one seat for an alternate on the Conservation Commission. And if you're interested in the development of the community, this is a great place to get started.
Anyone in the audience? I'll appoint you right now, okay. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, insurance. Do we want to do insurance, or how about this? I'm gonna do accept the fire department donation of $2,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is accept donation for COA, $1,152.06.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Aye. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Update on town administrator search?
Oh.
Go
into
into quick.
discussion.
Oh, it is, sorry, nope.
I don't know if Jesse Afterin is present. No. We do have the change of manager at the American Legion.
You do, okay. So we've done these before. Sometimes we ask them to come up, but there's an action in front of us to approve the change in management for the American Legion Post 204. And this has to do with all their beverage licenses and management. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, hold on. How about,
I'm sorry, and then, point of clarification on that, will we need to re-sign their, okay,
That's
Okay.
my understanding.
but it's not ready today, correct? Okay.
all right, I tried to get through all the ones that I thought we could do fast. I guess we'll do insurance next. The prices were lower. Yeah, all right. Whenever he comes up, my heart like just. I really want to be, but the rates
It's just really hard.
It's hard. Like if you came in and said we saved so much money, the rates are so much lower, I would feel better about it.
We all would, wouldn't we?
I know people know who you are, but please introduce yourself for folks online.
Yes, thank you, Christina. Ken Lombardi, NFP. I'm the insurance advisor in the town of West Boylston. Work at the direction of town administrator's office and obviously through the board. With me is Cheryl St. Louis, the chair of the insurance advisory committee. All right, so we did they get a copy of all this? Okay, great. Real quick executive summary about this year's health insurance renewal. I know you guys are aware that this is a huge budget challenge each year. It's no different in West Boylston than any other community. Health insurance continues to trend close to double digits. I know it's not great news. We'll explain to you the actions of the organization, including the Employee Insurance Advisory Committee, and what we evaluated this year. We were provided with a renewal from our health insurance program, which is through Blue Cross Blue Shield, through Mass Interlocal Insurance Association. Remember that the town is a member of the trust. In these challenging healthcare and in this challenging healthcare environment, we strongly recommend that the town always procure health insurance through a large purchasing organization. Most communities in Massachusetts are covered through a JPA, joint purchasing arrangement, like the Mass Interlocal Insurance Association. They have 170 communities under the umbrella. This year, the town's health insurance increased by 13.45%. I know it's a number no one likes to hear about, but quite honestly, after evaluating our claims data, utilization by the members, the healthcare industry trends, it's actually a really good renewal compared to our loss ratio, which exceeded 100% for yet again another year. Combination of obviously increasing costs, providers, you can name any type of healthcare inflation issue, but we did get a 13.45% increase. We did meet with the Employee Insurance Advisory Committee several times, evaluated a number of options. The community is not in a position to do a competitive bid with our loss ratio. So we looked to the Maya program for cost savings. Without direction, I will recommend that the board acknowledge the IEC did look at options to try and reduce costs. They do have a mutual responsibility to evaluate options for their fellow members, but they're also concerned about the impact of costs to the town. And we did come up with a recommendation that we want the board to evaluate. So that's what we're here for tonight. The long intro, I know, but that's what we're trying to explain. I do want the board to look at the second page of the exhibit to give you some benchmark information on what's going on in our environment. I have compared the program you're involved with today, which is my second largest purchasing organization in the state compared to the GIC State Employee Plan. A couple of communities are in that program to try and see how costs are increasing. And while our initial increase was over 13%, we did come up with some recommended changes to the plan to lower that to about 10.31%, which benchmarks fairly well with the state's group insurance commission, large health insurance purchasing group. We still are on the higher end of increases, and that's got to do a lot with our actual utilization. Recall last year, we made a creative change to the plan design. Our program does include one of the highest maximum deductibles available for most communities. We do have a creative HRA program, but we are at a $2,000 deductible. This year, what we have done is, just to try and get to the point here, is if you go to page, this one that says Maya Plan Change Options, I can kind of sort of categorize the recommendations. So the way our plan works today for most of the members, there are co-pays for a certain number of services that don't apply to the deductible. For most healthcare plans, office visits, emergency rooms, prescription drugs, facility use, some of those are co-pay only, some of those come with a deductible application first. What the town doesn't have is for the major services, inpatient, outpatient, prescription drug coverage, is the application of a the application of a copay after the deductible is met. So that's somewhat unique in the industry. So what we did do is we added 4 cost share categories to our healthcare plan. And you can see those kind of separated off here to the right, where what the members will be doing is incurring additional cost share after the deductible is met. They don't exist today. By making these changes, we lowered the rate of increase from that 13.4% or so down to 10.13. The IAC is aware that each year they take the responsibility to try and come up with the best recommendation for the board, try to keep our rate increase as low as possible. They are sensitive to, obviously, their fellow members' needs and the issues that healthcare cost increases create. But the recommendation from the IAC, which we hope gets approval, is if you go to the page that says 10.31, I can outline exactly the changes that we're making a recommendation to implement for fiscal year 27. Okay, so what are the changes? Starting with the items in red, the members are okay with increasing the emergency room copay from currently $150 to $250. So what that does mean is a member visits the emergency room facility of a hospital, that will be the appropriate copay. They don't have a deductible along with the ER copay. They just have a regular copay. You'll also see inpatient hospital admission, outpatient surgical daycare. Initially, the way the plan works today is once the deductible is satisfied, those facilities don't bill any other expenses to the members. Now, the members will get, if they're hospital admitted, a separate $250 copay. And for outpatient surgery, then there'll be an additional copay. It's $150. These are typically the way most healthcare plans work for municipalities in Massachusetts. The GIC, for instance, has a deductible, and then once the deductible is met, the overall plan deductible, there's additional copays. The members also added a separate deductible for prescription drugs. That doesn't apply to the regular medical care services. It's separate. Once the $100 deductible is met, then copays apply afterwards. So all of these changes, while they seem dramatic, and I know that there's quite a few, we were able to reduce the rate of increase, that's the way we have to talk about this, from the 13.5 down to the 10.31. It does reduce the town's increase by almost $132,000. So it is significant, and it does come at a cost increase to the members. The one thing that the IAC, I think, was hoping to have as part of this recommendation is we're making the recommendation to change the plan. They would like the ability to keep this plan design in force for at least 2 fiscal years. It doesn't preclude the town from looking at competitive options in the marketplace next year. If we think the rate increase that we achieve from Meyer is not appropriate, we could look at other carriers. But the core of the plan design, the request is to keep that the same this year and for next year. And so that's really what the IAC is asking the board to consider for fiscal year '27. Questions? Oh, Christine, one other thing I needed to make a note about. I left this off. Every organization has made a fundamental change to the prescription drug formulary for fiscal year '27, including Maya. They will no longer include in their formulary, covered list of drugs, any medications for GLP-1. So if there is a GLP-1 exclusively for weight loss, Blue Cross will not be providing that coverage, and that is a mandatory requirement. So we don't have the ability to restore it separately from the way it was presented. The value of that elimination has been, we've been advised it's as much as 7% off of the renewal rate. Or in other words, if it was still covered, we could have potentially looked at a 20% rate increase for fiscal year '27. The utilization and the cost of those particular medications is so significant, it's having that type of dramatic effect on health insurance. But that is gone on July 1st.
Well, trying to think of good words, I do have one question. I don't know, I only know my health insurance, which is different. Are the employees, is this good health insurance? Is this actually covering stuff? I mean, I don't know, so that I'm looking at this and I'll say a lot of these buckets are a lot better than
Of course.
I can get,
Yeah.
right? My family out of pocket, 6,000. There's about 20 different ways they chop that up, and somehow I always end up with a bill from a doctor's office. I don't understand, but is this a good plan? Is this worth? I
That's
struggle
okay.
with this because I do get a lot of, well, you give out, the prices are too much. We have the Cadillac of insurance, and I'm like, I don't know. Is there a Cadillac of insurance? Is this it?
Well, first off, I want to clarify, I don't mean to be insensitive about something that's very critical to the employees' welfare as well as, it's a valuable benefit. The way I have to answer it is we have limited options. We have 3 carriers in our marketplace. It's Blue Cross, it's Harvard Pilgrim, and it's Mass General Brigham Health Partners. We've marketed a number of communities this year to the marketplace, literally no quotes. I think I'd love to say it's a transition year, but Carter, we've been in transition years for how long now, it seems like, right?
About 52.
Yeah, I know it. So it is very good health insurance. The Creative HRA program helped last year. We may need to look at that again in the future. It does, it's taking the opportunity of the town stepping in to help those members when necessary. But one of the things I want to it's a positive, believe it or not, unintended consequence of the change is we do have a out-of-pocket cap, right? So members, if they have a very disastrous healthcare year, once they reach $3,000 in cost share, co-pays, whatever, a deductible, then the rest of the plan year, there are no more cost share features applied and the benefits are provided with no out-of-pocket expenses. By adding these additional co-pays, but still keeping the HRA, we actually push up against the out-of-pocket quicker for a member in a plan year. So while it might seem like we're adding more to their out-of-pocket costs, we actually get them to 100% benefits quicker. I know it's a bizarre way to kind of look at it, but from an actuarial perspective, it's the best arrangement we can create. And our goal was really, the IEC's goal was really to try and come up with something that just reduces cost as much as possible.
So to your question, my my company works with national health plans, you know, the Aetna networks and things of that sort. What you're looking at here on a national basis, maybe not Massachusetts per se, but certainly on a national basis, is a really benefits-rich plan. It doesn't feel that way when you're looking at a $2,000, $4,000 deductible, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of these plans, particularly like an ACA compliant plan, you're talking about, what, $12,500
Very
max.
significant out-of-pocket costs, right?
Very significant out-of-pocket costs. And oh, by the way, you only start ticking off against your deductible here if you're having inpatient treatments. So it's not going to the doctor's office. It's, you know, inpatient procedures or outpatient procedures, in which case you're probably going to hit that $2,000 pretty quickly. So it's not like, you know, it's a favorable plan. Our plans, the emergency room fee, co-payment was like $350. So,
Well, I thought some of
mean,
those
it's-
were good, I have to bump it up against what mine is,
Sure.
and then I'm like, well, I mean,
Mine-
theirs is better than mine, so I'll go with
Mine-
that, but just making sure it is something the employees are
My plan
happy
is.
with, at least at this point.
Yeah, my plan is $1,000
I know.
deductible with a $500 HRA on the backside with zero, you know. So, I mean, this, I wouldn't be happy with this, but I also know on a national basis, the plans are far less favorable than this and far more costly.
And just in case anyone, because I know you're probably all here for SWAT, or the trash enterprise account, so, the, IAC is actually a committee made up of employees that work for the town, and they're the ones kind of reviewing it. I did get a question that I don't know how this worked, I tried to look it up somewhere else. Is it typical that, a committee like this is formed with employees that are evaluating prices and changes in town? Is that like a normal,
This is statute.
Statutory
This-
required,
okay.
yeah.
you guys wanna call my work so I can get on that board? But, no, all right, so I'm gonna say the same thing. This is what it is. I'm happy that you guys were able to work something out to get it a little lower. If everyone's saying
Yes.
yes to it, I would say I wouldn't want to do 24 months for the same reason we had the debate earlier. I want the new person to come in and be able to review these and not come in and we've set the stage that they have to live by these, and then they say, well, I would have done it this way. And Carter, actually, you did say that to me a few times. I would have done it this way. And I'm like, well, you weren't here 6 months ago. Or we might have done it that way. So I would say I would be willing to have a motion to approve this, but it would be for 12 months. So that way it gives the new town administrator time to understand it or work through this.
Question.
Oh, God.
If we were to, it's a two-part question, I guess, for the immediate, if we were only to approve this for a year, does that have cost implications on the backside? If we agreed to 2 years versus one, does it?
It's an annual.
No, let me answer it this way. We're not going to remove any of these cost shares in the future.
Okay.
Whatever we put in here becomes our baseline. Very difficult to eliminate. We won't have negative healthcare trend for as long as we have healthcare.
Sure.
I mean, if we went to a single plan, it might be different, but we're not gonna have negative healthcare trend anytime soon.
And then, I guess the follow-on part is that there's no advantage to us to agree to a 2 or 3 or 4 year at that,
More cost savings.
because the provider's not going to cut us any better rate for a longer-term agreement, is I guess what I'm getting to. Okay. And then, if I may, one other question. So you had mentioned I think you said there are 170 communities that we're
Sure,
essentially
yeah.
participating with for a group buying power?
Right, so Massachusetts, we buy health insurance one of 3 ways as a municipality, through a JPA. Section 12 provides for that. Separately, you can purchase it directly. We did that at one time. We had Harvard Pilgrim and Fallon as carriers, or we can consider joining the Group Insurance Commission. The GIC is not yet an option for us because our costs are competitive with the Group Insurance Commission. We can't control employee selections within the 8 plan options, so that's a little bit of an unknown yet. I think it's risky, but might be considered in the future. But I think, we should applaud the employees for, thinking of something creative. Their opportunity could be to say no to any of these changes. You know, I mean, they didn't have any responsibility other than to evaluate sort of whatever's available, so.
I don't see an HSA type option. Is that in here?
We don't have a high deductible yet. We did talk about it, Christine,
And this doesn't, I was just getting it wrong. There's no, just to confirm, because I look at this 10-13, something could happen in next year's renewal, out of control of our hands, something could happen, and that could be 15. It doesn't, having a 10 doesn't mean we lock it in and the insurance doesn't come back in
Correct.
12 months and say, by the way, we've changed it, now you're at this number. So there's no stability and say, okay. Yeah. You know, we can all hope, right? It's hopeful. Oh,
I would just like to piggyback on something Ken said. In the last 2 years, one of the joint purchase groups has actually had increases close to 30% out in Hampshire, I believe, and 2 others have actually collapsed.
18, 20, and 12 in the last 12 months, so 50%.
So, you know, even trying to find another Minuteman, you know, or some of these other joint purchase groups is no longer
yeah.
an option because they're coming apart over these cost increases.
So what's in front of us would be a motion to accept the 10.13% annual renewal increase. Anything else?
10.31%.
10.31% annual renewal increase?
I think it is 10.13. That's what it says
10,
on it.
10.31.
Oh, it says 10.13.
Oh, 10.0.
I prefer as written, so.
10.31.
10.31, not 13? The other page
Basically,
says
you're accepting the recommendation of the
10.13.
IAC.
No, it's,
Okay.
it is.
And just do remember, there's a secondary step. Once you act, letters have to go out
Yeah,
to all of the unions. And we are, of course, most hopeful that the IAC, having worked on that, given your history to date, that will not prove a barrier of any kind.
so I just need clarification because all the pages say this. What's the actual rate?
10.13. Cheryl just
13?
corrected me.
Okay.
She was paying
All right.
attention, I wasn't.
I'm like, so, but I would say to accept in a 12-month, because their recommendation is 24, we can do a 12 or a 24, but I would say that would be the motion that someone else can move.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Well, are you moving 12 or 24 months?
The 12 months, I'm
12
sorry.
months? Oh,
Basically,
Can I just say
Sure,
something
Elizabeth.
about the 2 years? The 2 year, we're basically saying it's not, like, we can't control the cost, we can't control, like, the percentage of, like, how much it will go up. What we're saying is we don't, next year, we just don't want to have to add more co-pays or something onto our plan. That's like what we're saying.
and I get that, but I'm like, if it increases, right, I don't want to do 2 years. If it increases in 12 months from now, and that increases 25%, I do want the IAC to look at that. It's just I wouldn't lock us into 24 months and say, in 12 months, the insurance company could change the renewal rate. I do think that needs to be, that's why we have the committee, right? We need them to look at that. I would not feel comfortable locking in 24 months and saying, we're not gonna look at anything else as options, because it wouldn't be responsible.
Part of that conversation is going to be, hey, are you willing to accept this rate? Or are you want to talk about some of these other changes, plan design changes? So, I mean, locking it in for 2 years actually takes away some of that options, so.
so can I, do the towns make a 2 year or 1 year?
So the rate increase is annual, right?
Okay.
We can't control that or lock that in. There are some communities that have agreements where benefit plan design is locked in for, a period of time. So that's not unique, what's being asked, or unreasonable, but, we do work in your direction.
For the communities that do multi-year agreements, do they put some type of stipulations in there where should the rate increase be over a certain value that they then have the option to then say, okay, we need to reevaluate? Because I follow what Jay is noting, is that if we say, yes, okay, we're locked in for 2 years, and this year is 10%, and I understand that took work on the committee to get it down, and the next year, the floor is 25%. Then I think, we have to pull the fire alarm and say, we have to, evaluate versus, oh no, we're already locked in, 25 is 25, here it is. That's my concern, is there a vehicle to pull that fire alarm if we lock in for 2 years? And if there's not, then I think 12 months is the more appropriate amount of time. Does that make sense how I'm asking that?
No, I understand.
Okay.
I'm not, I don't think we've written anything like that before.
No, I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, the employees, the recommendation is, in effect,
I did
we
not pull that fire
recommend the
alarm.
employees taking these hits, and in return for that, it's our hope that you won't tinker with the benefit platform.
For at least a year.
And to the extent the rates would prove acceptable, and you can indicate to the employees that it would also be your hope, I think that would meet where they're coming from. At the end of the day, this is all driven by your experience rating. When I went to Molten Borough, I was there about a week. We had a fella on a motorcycle get hit by a tractor trailer, and in less than a year, the bill was approaching $1 million, to where the insurer was paying out about 130% of what we were paying them. So it's a challenge. Every year, I joked 52 years, but I think I've sat at these tables and just about every year tried to find some way to tinker with it.
I would say I'm personally only comfortable with 12 months. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the next year, and even budget-wise, unless I could honestly say to any of our other departments or any of our other budgets, we're gonna lock you in for 24 months, and no matter what, if we don't have money, we'll still find a way to give it to you. I couldn't, if I can't do that for all the other departments and all the other folks that we need money for, I can't honestly say, yes, this could go up to 25%, but I'm gonna let this sit the way it is, and we're not gonna reevaluate it. That wouldn't be fair to the taxpayers of town.
I think David raises a good point. Healthcare trend is 12%. Would you maybe allow Carter to put in his communication that the board would support a 2-year no plan change unless the rate increase exceeds trend next year, which is 12%?
I would keep it simpler. The IAC is recommending the plan changes with no additional HRA exposure, and they're requesting a commitment to maintain plan design. This board, I think, could express its hope to maintain the plan commitment, which indicates that it's an open issue, but gives the employees hope as well.
What happens if it gets voted down? I mean, if we're sticking point is 24 months, I just want to be honest, we have some we're going into a town meeting right now, and in 12 months, we're going to be financially in a different place. What is the next step if this gets voted down? Because if we're sticking at 24 months,
Let's say the rate came in at 6% with no benefit change. That accomplishes what the employees are suggesting. They're asking if there's a hope to not have another benefit change next year.
Yes, but
And-
then what if the rate's 30% in that situation?
The taxpayers are hoping their taxes don't go up anymore. So I honestly, I'm not comfortable with 24. If that's the vote here, my vote will be no.
In that case, the
Can't do it.
motion would be to accept the recommendation of the IAC, provided, however, that this board cannot make a commitment to a flatline benefit platform next year.
It's just mine, I can't do it. I can't guarantee the taxpayers that I'm not gonna increase their taxes, I can't guarantee we're gonna fund the school budget next year, so I can't honestly go into this and say I'm not gonna come back to them to say, we need to look at this again. I wouldn't be
I
fair.
think the motion that I've suggested accomplishes where I sense the board coming from.
Can I ask one other question? So we do have to provide insurance for the employees. So the percentage 10.13, it could stay or it could go up. Even if we lock it 10.13, will it go up?
That's the rate increase for fiscal year '27 with these plan changes.
The next
Fiscal year '28, it'll get renewed again.
renewed with the same rate.
Same benefit plan design.
And a different rate, they go up every
So
year.
it
Raj.
could go, it could go different percentage,
Right,
but we don't have the control, right?
we do not, correct.
Carter, what was that caveat?
My suggestion, which I think meets the end goals of the board here, is to accept the recommendation of the IAC, provided, however, that the board cannot make a commitment to maintaining the current benefit platform. Ken, would you agree that that would accomplish what this board is?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal, provided this board cannot make a commitment towards the plan design as presented
For 2 years,
for 2 years.
so only just, I know you're saying maintain, but I wanna make sure that is for 12 months. So the way that motion is structured, and the way it was, that you just said it is, for next renewal cycle, we're not, I don't wanna be
You're
standing
not committing to this benefit platform
for next year.
for fiscal '28.
Okay. So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This time we did it to you. You usually do it to us, and we did it
I
lots.
oppose. I'm on the committee opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And thank you to the committee for your hard work.
Yes.
Thanks, Carter.
I think everyone's here for the next one. Maybe not. The adoption of solid waste enterprise fund fees and rules. I'll call out Ray is here. Ray, someone read an article, basically, a little dissertation for you because you weren't able to show up. Just in case. All right. Carter, do you want to walk us through this, or do you want?
So
I'm sorry.
we sent you last week revision number 4 to the proposed regulations. And then Monday or Tuesday, we sent you some very minor wording changes. It is my intent, based upon your vote tonight, and I may actually be suggesting several votes to help us move forward, to attend the Board of Health meeting next Wednesday to present on your behalf a request for the waiver of the pay-as-you-throw program. My suggestion here tonight is actually comes in 3 parts, and we can talk about how to do that. I think the first is to determine whether or not this board wishes to make formal application to the Board of Health for a waiver of the continuation of the pay-as-you-throw program. That then leads us to a lot of the other discussion. The second action would relate to bin sizes and some conversations we've been having with a couple of the developments. With those 2 things in mind, and some direction from the board as to what it perceives to be dropout rates, I will tell you as of today, we have 102 opting out applications, and we have 1 major development that has yet to formally notify us as to whether or not they will drop out. that's 52 units. So that's 155 units, which is a dropout rate of about 6%. With that direction and with a direction on tonnage, we could then engage in our meeting with Republic, which leads us to how many carts of which type we're going to order. It leads us to allow me to present the waiver request to the Board of Health, and it allows me to make any final refinements here. You've heard an objection to the rate, but it lets us go back through the numbers. And then, God forbid, I could put all that together and be back in here on April Fool's Day for a final vote on the package.
I have faith. You got it.
The issue of bin sizes has come up with respect to two communities. I have gotten actually different reaction from the two communities. One has voted by their board of directors that it be two, be specific sizes. The other one was meeting tonight, so I don't have their vote for you. I think we could simplify that by simply having some language in here that honors a vote by the HOA Board of Directors. In other words, we wouldn't say what it would be. We would simply say that once they give us a formal vote, certified, that we would honor what they want, because I'm hearing 232 gallon carts in one development, and I'm hearing a 65 and a 32 from the other development.
Can I God, I've taken a different place on this seat. The town of West Boylston is not tied to individual HOAs. They do not dictate the contracts or what the taxpayers in the town of West Boylston do. I worry that opening it up for a board of director sitting on an HOA for their committee to then make decisions that could have cost impacts the rest of the community is something we have never done. I don't want to start doing now. And the reaction is that's usually over a certain size. We do not let them onto town trash. We have made exceptions for some communities. I understand the more people in this, the better off the pricing is per household, but I would not be in favor of saying that I'm going to accept that HOAs, because I can think of 7 communities with HOAs in this town. They would now have a right to submit something and say, well, next year we change the bin size, so supply us bins.
Yeah, understandable. The effort to try to meet everyone's concerns
I get it.
while maintaining an operational capability has proven most challenging as this thing has evolved. I mean, it was designed at 95 and 65. I can tell you that one community I spoke with today would tell you they wish they'd just stuck it out. That was their initial design, and they made a number of changes. And if you talked with them, they would say they just wish they'd stuck it out.
If I may, through the chair. While I agree with your take that I do not agree with the idea that HOAs get to play quasi-government roles in dictating to the town what they will and will not take. I do also think that if we have language that allows the select board to selectively honor those, it could be to the town's overall advantage if, we're not going to adjust the rate that they're paying, but if they want to have smaller cans and essentially lock themselves into likely less tonnage, it is to the benefit of the ratepayers throughout the town if they are generating less trash, but and they're likely already getting a senior discount in many of these cases.
I like having the option to have the smaller one. My only hesitation is knowing some of the communities sitting in the seat first. I learned very quick on 1 year into service that I'm not going to make 50% of the town happy at any given time, but that's not what I'm here for, right? I'm not trying to make everyone happy, but I like the fact of we're offering a smaller one, but I do not want to get into also cycled replacements. I don't want where we were at 96, now our HOA has decided we want a smaller one, the town of West Boylston purchased smaller ones, right? Or you honored it for this HOA, I'm gonna use my grandmother is, everyone knows, at Angel Brook, she reminds me quite often how she feels. So she'll say, well, someone will say, well, you let Angel Brook do it and you gave them smaller ones, but when this property did it, you did this. Is it because you knew someone at Angel Brook? This has to be very black and white, and everyone needs to be kind of created equal. I want to offer smaller, but it can't be by HOA.
If I might suggest, there are really 3 tiers to decisions that
Okay.
I need from you tonight. Decision number 1, and these can be voted on separately. Decision number 1 is, do you want a waiver from the Board of Health to eliminate the pay-as-you-throw program?
When you say waiver, it's just a request to them to remove it from theirs?
It's a
Or?
request from them and they will vote.
Okay, do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
That was the quickest. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Raj?
I'm voting no.
To send them a
Yeah.
waiver to remove pay-as-you-throw, but you voted yes to remove the program. I got it, yeah.
Yep,
Jay?
I can change my mind
Yes.
anytime, right?
Yes?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Okay, so 4-1 on that one. What's the next option? What's the next one?
The second question, I sent you all an Excel spreadsheet that is live. I've sent you also a page of the calculator in terms of printout. In order to finalize a budget, look at those rates. I need to know and some of this is a little bit of crystal balling. We currently have 102 opt-outs. We anticipate at least 52 more, and we are pretty much at the end. We prepared that calculator on the basis of 5, 10, and 15% dropouts. Is it really gonna be 6, 7.5? I don't know, but I think we know it's going to be above 5, and we believe it's gonna be above 10.
Below 10.
I believe, and I would feel more comfortable with instruction from this board as to how you would like me to build this budget on what dropout rate you would like me to use. And that's where the crystal balling comes in, because
I'd
we
say
do
we
have
do
a
8.
few days yet.
I say we do 8%.
Has there been any discussion, because I have heard from a number of people that we provided a list of haulers as part of those requirements, and members of the town have contacted those haulers. So the opt-out is, you can opt out and use these approved, I think it's Board of Health approved haulers. And those Board of Health approved haulers said they do not do curbside pickup, and they were not contacted to provide that service from our town. So did we provide an opt-out and give it to residents? And actually, it's not an opt-out because they can't actually use those haulers for curbside?
I think that the town has tried to provide as many ways to opt out as possible. It has provided those that are licensed here in town. We can't mandate somebody provide service in town. It has provided an opportunity for people to take their refuse to any other licensed transfer station. Unfortunately, none of the municipalities around you operate transfer stations, which should tell you a little something. We have worked with property owners to make very clear that if they have several properties on one lot, they can in fact install a dumpster. If they own several properties, they can take refuse between those properties that they themselves own. Within the marketplace, I do think the town has tried to find as many ways as possible to allow people to opt out.
And I will just note too that even if, let's just say, no other company offers curbside pickup, they always have the option of a dumpster. So there's always an opt-out option.
And the dumpsters, just if I read these, the dumpsters will not just be dumpsters, because they have to also get a dumpster for recycling. And then we've instituted a written fine, second fine's 100, third fine's 150, fourth fine's 200. So the opt-out is, we have haulers there that don't do curbside. And now what we're requiring our residents to have is 2 dumpsters on their residential property or be fined. That is not an option. That is actually a horrible decision that we would say to someone, you can have 2 dumpsters. I understand we want them to use town trash, but I want to make it clear that is not an option. That is completely outrageous, and I haven't seen it. I actually had a chance to look at a bunch of other towns. No other towns are requiring 2 dumpsters to be put at these properties, and some of them have very small areas and now 2 dumpsters. So I disagree with that. It was not appropriate. The opt-outs do not actually, the list, no one actually checked to see if they would do curbside. And now we're requiring not only our residents, but our businesses per this, to have 2 dumpsters at their location, or we're gonna fine them. I look forward to the first violation or who's gonna manage that, but I think that is very clear on what went out and what is not available to them.
Can I say something?
Sorry.
Question, so when we put this into play, from March 1st for the recycle, has to be, if you have a dumpster, you have to have recycling as well. Are we the only community that did that, or is this more of a?
State, I believe that's a state regulation.
So waste bands and recycling is a state regulation.
Excuse me, Annette Garcia.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Board of
since
Health.
you're from the Board of Health, I'm gonna let you just introduce yourself, sorry. And then the answer to that question is, if you could tell us communities around us, would be great.
Yes, certainly. So, waste bans, including recycled materials, like the mandatory recycling requirement we put within this regulation, is a statewide regulation. So folks are required to do it. Oftentimes in Massachusetts, it's left up to local municipalities. I can say that this is, common that as towns are adopting these regulations, that provision for mandatory recycling is being included. Shrewsbury is currently in the process of including that. I have worked in a number of communities, not in this area. I was mostly in the Metro Boston area. They all have that provision, so North Andover. As folks are updating it, they're including it so that local municipalities who are being tasked with helping enforce that waste ban have some authority to do so.
But it's, when this was first presented, and I went back to make sure I watched the video and I read some of the meeting minutes, it was presented that this was state law and we were adhering to that, but it's actually, it was something that is, but it's up to local towns or local government to put this as part of theirs. There's not a statewide Massachusetts, you have to do it in every town or city. It's something you adopt.
That's incorrect. There's a state law there is a waste ban state law that specifies which materials cannot go into your solid waste stream.
I'm talking about a second dumpster. I want to be very candid. I'm talking about,
Nothing in our regulation says you have to have a second dumpster. You have to have trash and recycling. You have to have a way to dispose of both. You can't put recycling into a trash dumpster and have it be recycled by nature of how the trash stream works.
so how would companies and towns do that? I looked at a few of this. I would say, I know you were looking around, but I'm right here. So I would like to know, Shrewsbury's adopting it. So are they adopting where they have their residents and their businesses have 2 dumpsters, one for recycling and one for trash?
Yes, they have to have a way to dispose of both. And so a lot of times with businesses, what you'll commonly see is that maybe a business plaza will go into a trash contract together. So they might not, let's say there are 4 businesses, they might not have 8 dumpsters there. They might say, well, actually, 1 trash and 1 recycling dumpster can service our whole business operation. So that's the way to do it. have never come across an instance of a private residence that finds that a dumpster is more cost effective than using the town curbside pickup. So I don't think that you'd see an instance of a private residence actually saying that, yes, this is a good solution for me to have a recycling dumpster and a trash dumpster.
I'm worried I have 100. I have a town of 7,800 people. I have 100 people, say, maybe. What's the total number of opt-out right now?
102, it'll be,
So I have 102 that have said that. So unless, which I know they can't do curbside based on what was put in the opt-out, because none of those companies do it. That means they're using a dumpster, so that means they're having two. So I have 100.
Most of our opt-outs come from condo associations, so there's more than one unit on site, so it's not a single family home, it's a multi-family home. That's probably.
So is this not individual residents? These are condo associations with HOAs?
some of them have opted out as individuals. So for instance, on Sterling Meadows, we've encouraged them because they've told people not to opt out yet,
Yeah.
to take a single vote and opt out.
But they still had individuals within their complex opt out.
In some instances, yes.
A lot of the residents that have opted out have also chosen to use transfer stations because that's what they were using before. So they go to the location in Worcester, the location in Millbury. Other folks have indicated that they own another property that has trash on site, so they're bringing their trash to that property. When we publish that list of, it says permitted haulers, so the Board of Health is always permitted waste haulers. So that was saying these are the permitted haulers who say they provide services in West Boylston. We can't dictate whether they provide curbside pickup, but we were just providing that list. We've updated the list as we've found new options. So the transfer station, the online version has been updated. We've provided town offices with that updated list as well as the Board of Health office to make sure that folks can come. Obviously, we can't update the mailer, but there is a link to the online form on the mailer. So those options are available for residents as well.
How do they know you have already mailed the forms? How do they know the residents, It's a whole different, what I'm hearing is, as you said, the forms, opt-out form you sent was different than the online form.
So folks call in, we've had a ton of calls that we're able to provide that guidance. I've sent emails with the updated list if they prefer to mail in the form. Some folks have written in, they used the transfer station and they wrote in on their physical form. So we were able to do that. So we're certainly, making sure that communications go out when folks come and address us. And then now, the select board meeting, anybody watching.
I think, maybe,
It's only 5 people.
maybe if someone is opt out, maybe we should check with them. There is, which opt-out form you have looked at it, why you are opting out,
Well, I was gonna say, the calls I got were about the current opt-out form, and I would say, if you've updated those, the issue is not everyone's on Facebook and not everyone's on email, so how can we get the new stuff out to the folks to say, if you have opted out, did you know we've changed things, or we've added things, or we've modified them? Is there email addresses on the opt-out forms we could send? This is one of those things where even 100 people with dumpsters will turn into me calling Bob because Betty is mad at her neighbor because she hasn't had her dumpster picked up for a month in the summer. That's what it'll be like so I am just concerned we'll have 100 people with dumpsters or there will be trash everywhere.
Can I say? I think, this is 100 people. Maybe we could talk to them or send an email or whatever the way, communicate with them. Hey, on what basis you opt out? Is it
How many of
the
them
old form or
indicated
new
how
form?
they were opting out?
Um,
Out of the 100.
Yeah, I would say about 95% indicated who they were using.
Okay.
We had a few who said they were not using a hauler, and so we followed up to provide that guidance. And most people said, "Oh, I use the transfer station," and so we've been able to provide that,
All right,
confirm that information with them.
I have one other question. So it says, which I do like, but I just know where I live because I always blow down to my house. But it says, all cards shall be removed 12 hours following the collection. Is Bob driving around to make sure that they were removed? How are we gonna? I'm just scared someone's gonna pull this up and say, well, Christina, my neighbors had theirs out there for 3
13
days. And I'm gonna be like, did you call
That's not at all uncommon in any city or program like this, where there is a window
Yeah,
in which we say, don't put your container out, earlier than, let's say, midnight, and have it collected by midnight. Because we don't want the containers out there too early, and we do want them collected at some point in time. So that's actually pretty common language.
I'd say it's similar to any park that says open,
That's
dawn
still
till,
dawn.
yeah, I mean, no one's out there
Yeah,
making
but-
sure.
Again, that's a common sense. People will bring in the morning, and then when the trash is picked up, they go take it back.
all right. So your
Mark
second,
Twain said there's nothing common about common sense.
yours,
Yeah, but at the
I-
same time, how many times did this, trash haulers did not pick up the trash?
it's one of my,
Yeah, how many
the trash
times?
drives me insane. Every week, I'm like, please pick up the trash and the recycling, and I hope there's no wind or water, or, I don't know.
If you
Why are
have-
they putting pink garbage bags out still? I didn't even know anyone had those, and you guys probably don't know what that is. We used to have a textile program that had pink trash bags. So, the number 2 is to accept an 8%.
Yeah.
Are you good with an 8%? Should we do 10? Just,
I await the board's instruction.
do you want to just go to 10, just to make it?
I'm fine at 8% given today, and what I'm asking you tonight is to give the program a sense of direction, and we will come back on April 1 for the final vote, because there are still a number of things up in the air.
Okay. I'm okay with 8 or 10. I was just thinking 10 gives some flexibility where we're not in triage mode if those HOAs decide to opt out, and then we're rushing to have like an emergency meeting to up at 2%.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. I did have one question while Annette was still up here. Could you just clarify, because there's a lot of people asking me, if, for example, you have a trash dumpster at your work and you want to bring your trash there, is that allowable, and can you put that on the opt-out form?
If you own another property or own another business, you can bring your trash to there. And I could not bring my trash to work here at the town of Shrewsbury or at West Boylston. So if you're an employee of a business, you cannot bring your trash to that business. If you're the owner of the business, then you can. Same as if you're the owner of another property.
Okay, and then one other thing to clarify is, what is this hauler license? I remember you were talking about something about you can't, like, an individual can't get their own, or they could get a license if they wanted to, but can you just explain that?
Yeah, so there's a state law as it relates to the transport of trash and offal and other nuisance and things that could cause sickness. And so anybody that's transporting those materials through a street is required to be permitted by their local Board of Health. The West Boylston Board of Health has been permitting haulers for many years. It's part of our regular operations and was included in our dumpster regulations that they're required to get a permit. So anybody who is going to be transporting trash from a location that they don't reside at to a location that they don't own needs to be a permitted hauler. And so that's where that list comes from. Those are the folks that regularly get permitted with the health department.
So a transfer station, would you need to be a permitted hauler?
So like to bring it to a transfer station. So that's, one of the exemptions that we definitely have provided with folks. It is permissible to take your own household trash to a permitted transfer station, and transfer. You can find a list on Mass DEP of all those, but the ones in the area that I've heard are the Worcester, Leominster, and then the Millbury locations.
Thank you.
Yep. So Carter's second vote is to accept the 8%.
A vote, whether
Eight,
8 or 10, whatever the
10%.
board. I
Anyone
just
make it
need,
up, I don't care.
I just need a number to,
Who has a motion for me?
Motion at 10%.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, third one. I'm scared. What?
the next issue is to instruct me as to what you are comfortable with in terms of the tonnage increase. Again, you'll have a second bite at the apple in 2 weeks here. But we have had conversations about there won't be any increase because the container size will be limiting. It could be 30, it could be 40, These numbers are all over the place. I have laid out the financial impact of different tiers. Again, you have 2 weeks before we bring this back for final. But I think an instruction from this board as to what you would like the budget to be developed around would be very useful to me.
I personally think there's going to be an increase due to the amount of people, I thought it was just me, but the amount of people that don't actually do trash in town that are now going to start because they're being mandated to. I mean, I counted 30 people I spoke to that do not actually use town trash and have never used town trash and now will start using it. So I do personally think there'll just be an increase of that portion of people that didn't use it before, but now that we're mandating it, will start to use it. But I couldn't tell you what would be a threshold?
So my thought on this is our goal was to try to have this be as long as possible, have the same rate. But things are going to change. Many things are going to change. So I would say, you know, if in a year or two we do realize that there is some sort of change that we need to implement, whether it's the bin sizes or different opt-outs or exemptions or tonnage sizes, whatever the case is, I think this is going to be a pretty fluid situation. I don't think that whatever decision we make tonight is going to necessarily be what this decision will be in 5 years. So I think picking one of these numbers is great, but I also think that we're never going to know, and we're going to have to revisit this anyways.
So are you thinking just picking something for 12 months? Sorry, I'm trying to have this sheet that you have.
So what are the tonnage increase, what are the numbers that you put on here for options?
The percents?
Yeah, percentages.
We gave you the impact of so we've picked, if you look at whether you're in the Excel spreadsheet or the single printout we gave you in the lower left, we're in the rows that are a 10% drop in customers. And across the top is what happens if we have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40% increase in tonnage. Let me say that number does drive your FY27 budget.
For the trash enterprise account, not for our town budget. So
Not
it'll
for your
drive.
operating budget,
Right.
but just like there's a sewer enterprise fund budget, there has to be an appropriated solid waste enterprise fund budget. Now, again, you're gonna have 2 weeks to do this, but if you think the trash is going up, let us use a number of 30%. I will develop a 4-year budget forecast on that basis of a 10% drop in customers with a 30% increase. And that is what I would prepare the budget around.
Looking at the Excel spreadsheet, just because it was a little easier for me, I see tonnage scenarios, but it had 5, 10, and 15.
That's the customers down.
Okay.
And so what you do is we picked the 10%. So you simply go across there to a column where the trash is up 10, 20, 30, or 40%, and that tells me what to use as a forecast for disposal costs in FY27. I would then escalate that out for the coming 3 years based upon what we know, with the big giant magic asterisk that we only have a contract through January 1 of 28 for disposal costs.
I'll lay back that I think this is one of those ones, keep a note in 12 months. Like, I'd like to see kind of them produce some us to see some of the tonnage increases.
And I would urge you to try to work with Casella as quickly as possible to see if you can't get that rate extended till June 30 of 2028, so you can bring this into alignment with your fiscal year.
I thought you did that already.
Can we make that motion to do that now or no?
Motion or request to ask.
I think that would be a great motion that you could welcome your new town administrator.
You told me for continuity and longevity, you just gave me a speech for 25 minutes, but not on this one?
Can we let the record show that the
Yes,
town
that he's
administrator is
back.
playing hot potato?
I
Thank you.
just, all right, fine.
I would say 10% tonnage. That's what I would feel comfortable. 10% and 10%.
I had 20.
I would say 30 I seem as high. I do think, I mean, you're gonna force me to use town trash too, which is, I don't have much trash, but
The problem with going up for this is that
no, I said I don't have a lot of trash.
so the problem with overestimating it is that we're then charging the households more. So
Without knowing.
right, I would rather be as close to. I understand trying to be fiscally responsible in this, but I also think that in a year, if we need to change it, I would rather do that rather than overcharge the customers now. the
What if you're in a
residents.
deficit after a year and you're at 30%? Now you're rolling negative into next year, and now the hike will be
I mean,
higher.
I don't think we
Even
can
at-
be unless everyone doesn't pay, if we have the right amount for this year. It's more gonna be a deficit in year 3, 4, 5.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about, right? So, I mean, I think it would behoove us to overestimate now to plan out over the longevity.
You mean lower the price in a couple of years?
Well, I would
No.
say in 12 months, if you did 20 now, and then look at it at 12 months and say, okay, 20 was way too high, or 20 was way too low, it's just gonna be, example being, well, no use bags, right? Like if we don't do something annually or smaller increase, if we have to go back in 12 months and jump 20% because of tonnage, people are gonna lose it.
Right.
I mean, I would,
So even by the, I think the analysis you had done, a 30% increase, we're still in deficit in year 5.
Right, but that
So-
also wasn't taking into account that our Casella was only 3 years, not 5 years. So no
But-
matter what, we're at a 3-year.
But to that
We
point,
can't project more than 3 years.
it's either pay me now, pay me later kind of thing. We can kick the can down the road and hit people with a larger increase or amortize it across several years.
Yeah.
I would just prefer not to underestimate and then have to come back to say, hey, by the way, we were so wrong that
To that
now
point-
we're gonna hike it $15 a month or something, I worry a little bit about that.
To that point, I was going to suggest
Can I
the
ask a
30%.
question? Why do we think we have a tonnage will increase?
Well, we just gave like 4 reasons.
Yeah, tell me.
Because,
You want again?
Yeah.
because Norma already presented the idea that it's going to increase by virtue of the fact that we're pulling the pay-as-you-throw bags. I don't know
So we
how,
are accepting that.
We voted for the one, for the two.
But we had the argument.
Raj, you
We
wanted.
had the
We're giving
argument.
you the
One second.
reasons.
Raj,
Can I
you,
No, let
no,
him
no,
finish.
you asked us for reasons.
Yeah.
I'm giving you some reasons.
Sure, go ahead.
So Norma already testified or presented the idea that we're going to have an increase by virtue of taking away pay-as-you-throw bags. To what degree, I don't know, but I think that carries some weight.
Yep.
Christina just talked about folks that had never been mandated to use trash before.
They don't use town trash now. Like 20 minutes ago, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, I'm not.
So we have 30 of those that didn't use it, so now they're
please,
gonna start
Please
using it.
don't put me down. I listen to you. I'm just asking the
And yet, you're
clarification.
not listening to me.
You don't have to put me down, okay?
I'm not putting it down, I'm
Yes,
telling you
you
what
are.
it is. No, you're making a scene,
No,
I'm not putting it
you're
down.
not.
So that is why I think the tonnage will increase, because a bunch of people who didn't use town trash will now use town trash.
We don't know
So
what
the-
HOAs are going to opt out. We're dealing with a bunch of variables that we don't know. We have some suspicions. I think that pulling pay-as-you-throw bags and limiting by canister size has an effect, but it might have an effect to increase trash, so I admit that, I recognize that. Do I think it's going to increase by the amount that Norma thinks it's going to increase? No.
So then, my feeling is, why do we need to increase 20%, Unnecessarily, we are going.
Because 5 years
put
from now, the
burden.
plan's going to be insolvent.
We
as it
don't know,
is.
5 years, we don't know how much percent will increase. Nobody can have, no one has a crystal ball to say, oh,
Well-
yeah. We all argued that pay-as-you-throw bag has to be removed, and also the canister has a limit. One can put only so much amount.
And we also know that the trash contract increased by how much percentage, and Carter might actually
About
have.
50%.
That was already included in the plan, right?
No, the 40% we just found out about.
Yeah, we just found
Yeah,
out
this
about
is
that,
another
which
meeting.
is frustrating because that might have changed some situations, but I do also agree that I don't think that we need to go up as high as 30%. I do think 20%. I mean, I think 4 of us think 20%.
Carter might actually have an
20s.
informed piece of information here for us.
If I may, first, please remember that we have to present a budget to the town meeting.
Yeah.
And I am not, well, I won't be here, but your new town administrator is not supposed to spend more than that budget. So having a budget that is comfortable, especially in this first year, I think is very important. Trash is going up, period, end of story. We may all have different ideas of how much it's going up or why it's going up, but I think that most of us are pretty comfortable with a statement that trash is going up. On the calculator, if I plug in the 10% of loss, we have that $1,039,000 in income based upon the rates that have been talked about so far. And if I then follow that over to the 30%, we have $229,000 in disposal costs. Based upon
That's for year one.
yes. And we're assuming a loss of 5% of gross revenues in the first year. Not everybody's gonna pay us in a timely manner that allows us to bring that money into year one. You'll collect it eventually, who knows when. Assuming the fixed cost chart that we've provided you, assuming the 10% drop in customers, generate that $1,039,000 in revenues, and assuming a 30% increase in tonnage costs you about $230,000, you would be on track to have a profit loss retained earnings of roughly $34,000 in year one. Assuming that trend holds at a rate of 6% increases, which for the coming year, fiscal '28, if you can get that 6-month extension at the current contract, it would hold. You would have a net loss in year two of about $16,000. Pulling some of your retained earnings over to offset that, you would enter year three with about $20,000 in retained earnings, at which point some of your losses would start to come back in. 29 and 30 are not horribly pretty, but it lets us get the program started with a budget that you should be able to feel reasonably comfortable would not have to be exceeded. You are going to spend the next 18 months working the wrinkles out of this. We haven't even gotten to bin sizes yet. You also will have 2 weeks after tonight to take final votes on those rates. But I truly need some direction from this board, because I think we might be on different wavelengths, and I would prefer to develop these numbers on the wavelength that the board is on.
All right, I think that to be conservative, we do 10% dropout, 30% tonnage, that gets us through 3 years at a minimum. And then if we have it, if it works out, then great. Year 4, we're in a better shape. But we don't even know what Casella's contract's gonna be years 4 on. So I think that those 2 percentages are
I agree
what
with
we have to
that.
go with.
All right, is that a motion?
Yes.
So,
Is that a
second.
second? Further discussion. Raj, do you have questions on that? Okay.
Oh,
Anyone else?
wait.
No?
Oh,
Questions on?
Questions, yeah, okay, not voting.
No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're gonna do bin sizes. And can I, Carter, ask you just, I'll leave you. You're free. I'm sorry. You know what? Why don't you sit here for a while?
Leaving me here by myself.
So to answer just a few questions is for billing, the billing will go out separately, or will the billing go with water and sewer bills?
Separately.
Separately?
The way you bill sewer is not clean quarters. You do a third each month.
And the way we're doing this, to answer a question in the audience, but also one that came in the public hearing, is there's not an opt-out if I am leaving you for 6 months and a day to go to Florida, because it's nicer there, guys. It's warm, but I won't be able to opt out of trash. I'll still have to pay for those 6 months while I'm gone every month.
Our fixed cost to provide that service, similar to your meter fee, whether it's water, electric, or anything else, are the same. So we are not proposing a vacation hold, if you will.
Okay, and is there any option, will this be something that folks can pay online?
Yes,
Okay, and will there be a fee to pay online using their credit card? These are real questions I got, so I didn't.
so if they pay their sewer online now, if they pay their
Yeah.
taxes, there's a schedule.
Yeah.
It'll be that same schedule.
Okay.
I don't know what your rate is for ACH, $1.75. So whatever you're paying now will be the same schedule.
And when will folks be able to set up their online account to pay their bill? I know I'm asking these, but these are only a couple.
When
that-
they get their bill,
Yep,
it'll have a bill number. They'll be able to go onto the town's website. They'll drop down
okay.
to that item. I don't know exactly how yours is set up. They'll do it the same as they do it
I
now.
can't wait to find out. All right, those are all my questions.
When can people expect their bins to be delivered to their houses?
On or about June 15th. We do have, and by the way, Republic is delivering 4 sets of bins by Monday. We'll get some at the senior center, the 95, 65, 32, 35, whatever they are. We'll get them around and people.
Are we gonna have like a check-in, check-out? Because I'm worried Vanessa will show up and try to get 2 bins, one at the senior center and one at the other place. She has a lot of trash, I've learned this. I do not, Norma. And I'll show you each week. But how do we make sure, because I will say there was like blue recycling containers, and I had someone actually call up and say, they got 4 and they're only supposed to get 2. And I'm like, I didn't know we were required 2 or 4, but.
I suppose I could put some cinder blocks in the bottom. so
Well, I
they'll
was gonna
blow
say, so
away
people can
easily.
go pick them up. How do we know if there's
These
28?
are simply
picking
for
them up.
demonstration, for people to see
Okay,
them.
for them to see.
Touch them,
Okay.
feel them.
These bins will be delivered to their residents, and they're gonna have a barcode,
These
correct?
bins will all have barcodes, so they're identified to
I was
which
kidding about that.
property
Oh, there is
they
a
are.
barcode.
They won't have barcodes, but they'll have serial numbers imprinted upon them, and they will be delivered to the property.
And
What if
Property
they're
owners will
what if
not-
they're in Florida?
In June,
I'm giving scenarios here, because Jan, the item's on here, and I'm hoping she's writing all this down for her next publication.
if someone's going to be in Florida, or in my case, more hopefully Hudson Bay,
No.
we'll have them reach out to us
Okay.
and try to hold the,
So if there'll be some way, if they're not here or away
to
during
put a hold
June.
on the initial delivery.
Okay.
And then, in terms of the senior
And,
discount for,
excuse me just a minute, that's actually a good question, make sure we get that into the Q and As. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Carter. Carter said that was a good question. You write that in front of that too.
He's pandering to the audience.
so for the senior discount of 30%, when do you think that form will be made available?
Be mailed out with the bills.
So they can apply for it, and it'll be applied to the next bill or to the current bill?
Trying to get it so it can be applied to the very first bill.
Okay.
There might be some crossover, so what we're probably gonna suggest, and again, this continues to evolve, what we're probably gonna suggest is that they apply for the discount, pay their first bill, and then we would give them a credit in the second quarter for that rate, a new rate, plus a credit against the first quarter.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? So during the public hearing, one of the town resident did raise a question. And also, she did mention that some other towns, they do not charge when they are not using the trash. Is that the common thing, or is there any town does it? So,
Very uncommon, because the cost to provide the service. Keep in mind, there's two components to the cost of the service. Driving Republic around the streets. That's the exact same cost, whether you have 2,000 people, 2,200, or 700. So I have not seen other communities, and I certainly plenty of communities I'm not familiar with, provide that kind of vacation hold, if you will.
I'll also just point out that, you know, when taxes were trash was part of our taxes, they didn't get a discount if they snowbird in other places too, so it doesn't make sense.
All right, other questions? I have one. I know we're sending something back to the Board of Health, but I know, the next problem will be, do we have a mechanism to alert business owners of these kind of regulations or anything else? Maybe not for you, I'm kind of looking at the Board of Health folks, because I know we have some loud business owners who will be like, you never told me I had to do that. When did you come up with that rule? So I'm just kind of looking to say, maybe you could do that so that they don't call me or bother me when they see me out in public.
Was it the business owners or the permitted haulers that you're gonna be notifying?
So we notified the permitted haulers of our public hearing, and when we went to pass the regulation, the public hearing was posted in the newspaper and on the website, and then certainly as we're working with our businesses, they'll be notified of the changes, and we'll continue to work with them to help them implement the system that fits best to meet the requirements of the regulation.
I think also you had mentioned in another meeting that the first year or so is more about educating and getting the word out versus penalizing.
Correct, yeah. And so, you know, we go to a lot of these businesses, they need food establishments, so part of the
Mike,
inspection will
can
be
you give
that
her that mic?
education.
Can you give her that mic? Sorry.
can-
I was like that, or I got yelled at the senior center because people weren't talking in the
Come
mic.
up to the table.
So, you know, generally when we adopt new regulations, we take care to do the public notification, so it's posted in the newspaper, on the website. We spend our primary is education, so we're not looking to issue fines and we're not looking to do enforcement. And so throughout this process, as we're adopting, we certainly will be notifying businesses. When we go to conduct inspections with businesses, we'll be working with them to provide them updates to make sure that they're taking steps to come into compliance with the regulations.
So that's actually, that's great. But I would say, like, we learned that there were updates to this tonight. We did not, I know we posted a public hearing. I have tons of hearings and tons of meetings, and I'll tell you, I can't tell you the number of people that say you're not transparent and no one told me. And I'm like, well, I didn't knock at your door, but I now have your address, and I'll knock at your door and let you know everything that's happening. But for business owners, they're not going to receive an email, receive anything in the mail, nothing that says we have changed anything. This would be, they would have to have seen the public hearing, went to the website, went under the Board of Health regulations, and found this. This isn't a trick question. I'm doing it because this is how I'm going to position my response, because they're going to say, that's not acceptable. How would we even know where that is on the website? So is that the method that they should go and look at these?
So it's a great method. Yes, do that.
Okay.
On the other flip side, we definitely have a plan as we move through this. Once the rules are finalized and the program is finalized, to send out notifications. I will say it's tricky. We have contact information for the businesses that we permit. It doesn't touch every business in town. There are tons that we don't know about, that we don't have a direct contact with. However, we do make efforts to work with other departments that might have business registrations to make sure that we're getting the communications out to them that way as well.
Okay.
I
So
don't want to leave out that at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the haulers to comply with these regulations and to work with their businesses to do it, because it is the haulers that cannot haul this material if it's commingled.
Carter, I know this, but I'm still gonna get yelled at, okay? I'm just preparing the response that's still not gonna be a good enough response, but I'm just preparing it. Go ahead, Wood.
I believe we should have a list of every business in town doing business that has at least pulled permits to the town to do that. And I don't know if we've provided that full list to you yet or not, but if we,
She has them.
okay.
It's certainly, working through like I said, working with other departments that may permit in a different
Okay.
capacity. So looking at the DBAs, looking at liquor licenses, we know there are always challenges with contact information, but definitely using any list that we have available within the
We
town.
need a CRM, that's the problem. All right, so the next one is to vote on, we've done the tonnage, what's the fourth one? I almost don't want her to leave, because I think we're gonna make her just sit there again.
It's good to get the steps in.
The
We
fourth
have-
one is bin sizes.
We have had multiple inquiries about bin sizes. My position has been that that is certainly something that might be doable in the future, but we need to get the bins deployed and work through the program. If this board wants to offer an additional bin size, the questions become yes or no, and to whom, under what conditions?
So just, I completely understand wanting to just roll it out as is. Knowing that these two large communities, Angel Brook and Hillside, are struggling with the bin sizes and just putting them places, et cetera. I just thought it would be at least worth exploring, investigating what we can do, if there's something we can do before rolling it out. I would hate to have 250 units receive 95-gallon recycle bins and have nowhere to put them. And on the contrary, I would hate for them to opt out because they can't put them someplace. So, I mean, I took the liberty of calling the HOA people to try to see if they could come with some kind of consensus on what might be a good solution. I mean, it can't be a pick and choose. It can't be, 10 units want this and 20 units want this. It has to be kind of all or nothing if we're able to do this at all. One of the boards was able to say that they want smaller bin sizes for both trash and recycling for all their units. They're gonna make it an HOA requirement, which is up to them, whatever. The other one is voting on that tonight. I just think that if we are able to accommodate the two large, senior living facilities in our community ahead of time, instead of buying all these bins and then having to buy more bins in the future, I just think that that's what we should do. Also, and I say to them, I'm sorry, it's not fair, but these two communities are the ones that reached out, and in the next 6 months, if we are able to accommodate them, then we'll look at that. But I think for now, I think we roll out the program as is, except for those two communities, get the smaller bins, and then look back at it in 6 months.
Carter, do you know if the hauler has, specific or recommended, bins that they supply? So here's 96, here's 63, produced by this manufacturer, and if you get them yourself, this is what you have to get?
So there's 3 sizes predominant across these programs. 95 plus or minus, again, every manufacturer has a slightly different dimension, a slightly different capacity. 65, and some refer to it as 32 or 35. Our hauler is prepared, our hauler, Republic, is prepared to work with whatever sizes you select. And our supplier is prepared to help us sort through how many of which kinds. So let us say that you were to vote to offer 35 gallons to a certain group of people. Next Wednesday, I would then say, okay, I have 2,500 people in the program, I have 500 units, or 250 units, whatever criteria you're using, that are gonna get this size bin, and the balance is gonna be 95 and 65s. What has your experience been on rollout? What can we do to try to make sure we have the right capacity when we roll the program out, and a few stuffed away there for whether there was a mistake or we need to swap somebody out?
It's a benefit to do. I was thinking, I know we're doing those two communities, but I almost was like, how do I simplify it even more? Like, if you are a senior getting a senior discount, would you automatically be able to get a 35? Because I think that, right, because that's kind of your, if you looked at that pool, because I would think that would be your predominant pool, you'd have you'd have someone like me that says, I could do a 35, because I'm gonna have like one bag a week, right? Because there's two people that live in my house, sometimes just one, but, so,
The challenge is, the order has to be placed before we'll know all of those kinds of people.
we have the senior numbers already, like, we have that number, we have, because the
25%.
census, yeah, it was like, we had the, I want to say town clerk, because it was, I've seen the reports, like, there was a census done, but there's also like, they showed us like, 53% of the town is over 55. So I know they have it, I just can't, I don't know how they got it.
So is your suggestion, never
Offering
mind.
it to anybody that would be able to get a senior discount could
The
also
problem
get a
is that the
smaller.
senior discount is being rolled out after we already ordered the carts. We had to order the carts next week. So what my proposal is just order the carts as is right now, order the special carts for those two communities, because we know that's 250 households that will opt in if they're able to get those smaller carts. And then in 6 months, maybe we have some extras lying around, maybe they can apply for a smaller cart at the same price
What if?
down the line.
What if we just bought to your point, just roll out the program, but if you would need a smaller cart, you can go buy one of these and register it with the town?
That's another option too, is if you could, potentially, if you want a smaller cart, or whatever the case is, if you change your mind, maybe you have to buy the cart.
There's like 250 in that community, could we do something like roll out everything, and we'll buy 500 of the small carts, and whatever the rest of the large carts, and make it just like a simple flat number, because if there's 250 in that community, that gives us 250 the small carts that I know we will get 250 people. How many is this? So,
Andover suggested that we determine upfront what we are prepared to distribute, because as they kept opening it up to try to meet everyone's concerns, they have been, quote, playing catch-up as they tried to meet everyone's needs, and they wish they had stuck with a plan.
Right, that's why I
The
just.
challenge with the seniors
Can I ask a
is,
question? So the thing is, there are some of the, I know that, Angelbrook and Hillside, there are seniors. But at the same time, there are seniors outside of Angelbrook and Hillside too. So we could give him a time, 1 week time. If somebody wants a small totes, let them get it. So
But-
what is this going to be a bigger issue?
This is why the HOA votes matter, so perhaps the idea is, if you have an HOA representative and you can verify how many bins you get, that's what you can do.
I have approximately 600 households above the age of 65. I have 250 households that live in complexes that are 55 plus, and I have no demographic to tell me how many of the 65 plus are the 55 plus. I also have no demographic to tell me how many of the seniors want 32-gallon carts. So to find a mix of having the right number of carts for the right number of people on hand to deploy this program on time, I think is very challenging.
Yep.
You can say the word impossible.
That's why I just think that we just roll out for those two communities, 32s, and then everyone else gets the other ones for now. It makes things simple. It's not ideal. I like
But
the
don't you
idea
think,
of being.
We got forcing some bin, some 85-year-old lady
I-
lives in a house, she's
So-
all alone.
Great, so how are we
And
gonna-
she has to push the cart.
Well, what is your solution then?
My
Like, for the-
solution is, give her a week, give them a week time, or whatever the time, so let them call you. Now everyone is watching, the item is watching, they are going to publish it.
They can call you, and then you can tell them.
Yeah, I can tell them.
So
I can walk around, I can find out too.
I think the idea of having a window is a good idea.
Yeah, give us a
But a
time.
week it's just too short. Decide what you want to distribute to whom, have some extra bins on hand, provide a 6-month window, and then you can start to distribute them. Please remember that unless Republic takes on the deployment of these bins or another contractor, it is your DPW that has to make all of these drops and pickups.
So
You don't have storage space.
So as a recommendation, Carter, so it sounds like the board's in favor of smaller ones. Giving you a quantity for each size, does that eliminate this? So if we say 250 of the 23 gallon and the rest in the 95 gallon,
If you,
That-
if you were to say, and I understand not wanting to have an HOA dictate, but if you were to say that if those two complexes, I'm just hypothetically, would be delivered 32-gallon bins, and you want to have an exemption for someone, let's say, who's handicapped, has a disability, that lets me start to focus in on the quantities.
well, that's where I liked the numbers. I had said 500, but you said 650. And I was like, gives
The
a flat
challenge is I
number.
don't know the numbers.
But-
The only number I know is the number of units in those two complexes.
So
I don't think we need to give him a number. I think he's going to talk to Republic to get their best. I think he just wants us to like give him guidance.
Categories.
on-
I don't need the number, I need categories.
I would love to be able to offer the seniors a smaller container. I don't know how to do that. If we want to do the two communities, that's fine, but I would like to,
I have an option.
I'm looking at these numbers here. I have a question. We have a total quantity of 1,980. How many barrels, if we just did 96, are we looking to order? Because there are numbers here that,
Approximately 5,000 as of today.
okay, so 5,000. What am I missing? Why is this difficult? So someone help me here. This is simple math, right? So we have 5,000. If we say 5,096, 532, why is this difficult? Someone needs to explain this to me because we're overcomplicating this.
You're relying upon the 65 gallons for trash, that's in the mix.
Right.
What we could do, if you wish to offer it to seniors, we could start with these two complexes, and I could order another 100, let us say as a number.
Yep.
Which could be applied for by seniors as availability allows. And that, I think in the regulations, when we said people could get extra bins, we said it was subject to availability.
Yeah.
So I offer that or some number, 150.
Your 5,500 is adding up all of the bins, right? Trash and recycling.
Yes.
So I'm asking you, all right, so that makes more sense, because I was like, unless we've really increased the amount of houses around here, that number
So,
didn't
so
work.
let me use that as an example, just a
Okay.
hypothetical example. Under that scenario, we have, I'm using raw numbers, 250 in those two complexes. That's 532 gallon bins.
I think that's
We
round enough. I
have
think that's perfect.
2,250 remaining households, which is 2,250 95 gallons, and 2,250 65 gallons.
Correct.
I would order an additional, under that scenario, please don't hold me to that exact number, I would order an additional 132 gallons, and I would probably order a few extra of the others. We have to have some
Yep.
inventory.
But so that's a scenario, that's what I see is perfectly, like, that's not complicated. That I think we should do. I think
Because
you're
it's
gonna-
subject to availability by application for only a specific
Yep.
group of people. That is not complicated.
Mm-hmm.
As long as, once the supply is exhausted, it's, oh, well, until we get another supply, this is where we're at. Because you have to order those in tranches. You're not just gonna go to Home Depot and buy 12 of them at a time.
Yeah, I think that'll be a problem
C-
too. but-
Clarifying question, so let's say, one of these communities that ends up with two 35-gallon bins. Are the bin colors different such that one's clearly recycling and one is clearly trash?
That's part of what we'll start working through.
Okay.
On Wednesday. Some communities do completely different. Some communities do a different color top.
Okay,
And just so you'll know, I've already had 3 calls of, I don't want two 32-gallon bins. I want a 32 and a 65.
Okay, that, yeah, but
Which kind of belies.
From
the whole
those
idea behind
communities.
32
from,
gallon.
okay, so,
Which is,
If that's an HOA requirement, then that's out of our control. It is what it is. They can't have Christmas decorations out past January 1st. It's not the town's decision, it's theirs, so.
I wish that was a town one. All right, what you just said on those requirements, under those parameters, we will take a vote now. So you have the amounts that you just mentioned to order, and an option of an extra 100, and the qualification is they have to apply, and after that is exhausted, too bad until we have a bunch more.
until the supply is replenished.
Okay, do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? I'm hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Yes, go ahead.
Are we allowing the publics, there are a lot of publics here, so do we allowing any questions from them?
Well, we had a public hearing. You want them to ask questions?
No, I'm just asking, they are here and they,
Oh, well,
Just a
let's take this
clarification. I'm
vote
just
and then
asking
I'll
a
do that.
clarification.
I'll have them, I'll
no,
come
just,
up.
yeah,
No,
that's why I'm
I'm
asking.
fine. I just not gonna let Mark come up.
Okay, I'm fine.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. All opposed? No.
What's the motion again? It went fast. What was the motion?
So he went through the requirements of what he's gonna order and the 2 different sizes that he's gonna offer, plus he's gonna, have an additional 100 of the 32 available, and those will be, you'll have to apply to get those, and you have to be a senior citizen, a senior that would, get the discount.
And it'll
Okay,
be
all of
subject,
that.
subject to availability.
Yep, that was pretty good. All right, now, everyone but Mark can come up for public comment if you have a question.
On that motion?
No, just on the whole thing, come on up.
Oh, well, I have 2 little questions.
Well, I was gonna say, I just need you to put your name and address and the mic, so I don't get yelled at from the people online, so they can hear you.
Kathy Gleason, 398 Worcester Street, West Boylston. Do we have to keep using the green trash bags once this program goes through?
No.
No.
Well, that was easy. See, could have asked that earlier. Easy.
What's the,
Respectfully, that is
pending the Board of
subject
Health.
to the waiver from the Board of Health. And I do believe that in these communities, boards work together for the betterment of the community. But I do think we still need to leave that magic asterisk up there.
so then we would,
For the moment.
if we have to do that, we would have to then circle back, so I think
Which
we
is
would
one
come
of the
back.
rea- which
Yeah, I
is
was
one
gonna
of the
say, we would come
reasons-
back here and then probably
Which is
vote.
one of the
no
reasons
forward.
I'm saying, let's take
Okay.
formal votes on the policies on April 1st.
To clarify, we intend for you to no longer require the green bags pending
Okay, and you'll
Board of
send
Health.
something to me in the mail that says you don't have to use these?
That's an excellent question, if we're going to send another flyer or not. I think our first
The-
move would be to the town
intent
website.
is to mail out the senior citizen application of discount and any additional flyers with that first billing.
So you would have some clarification in the mail, and then we would also be trying to put this
So how
across
do
the
you
town
then
website.
know who's senior citizen in the town, who's not?
The proposal that's in front of the board is that senior citizens could apply for the discount, and senior citizens would be defined as one person in the household who is 65 years of age or older, who can show ownership of the residence and who resides in the residence. So they'd have to submit proof of age, proof that they actually live there, cable TV bills, water bills, and the like. And then they would get that discount.
Meaning the $26 versus the $39, that's,
I think right now the rate we're looking at is $27.30 based upon the rates in front of the board. We'll finish running out that pro forma for your next meeting.
You're in the ballpark, yes.
okay. And then my other question was, I don't live at my residence for 6 months. I can't opt out for 6 months?
Not under this program. There's a similar to, as Vanessa had noted earlier, just like when the trash program was part of the taxes, it was whether you were there or not, the taxes were used in that revenue. And similar to keeping the lights on, your power, or any of the others reoccurring costs of other utilities, that utility is flat and will continue throughout the year.
Okay.
And there is a yearly opt-out period, is that
A
correct?
yearly opt-out.
So year one, whether you're there 3 months or 12 months, it's going to happen. But if you, after a year in the program, decide that that's not the best model for you, there's a time period where next year you could choose to not continue in that program.
Okay, and then if I go opt in, but go to one of these waste management places, or what's it called?
You opt out and go to one of the transfer stations?
Yeah,
You could do that. You just have to fill out the opt-out form and just put in that you're gonna do
and
that.
where do I get that form?
It was mailed to your home.
All right, so what if I don't know where it is?
You
We
can,
have
you
them
can,
at the Board of Health office.
Huh?
The Board of Health office has the forms, so if you don't have one currently, you can acquire one from the Board of Health.
Okay, and the next question is, if I go to one of those waste stations, do I have to call them up and say, I'm gonna be a customer of yours?
I
I don't know.
do you know how the local transfer stations work? Because
I don't know, however, we have their phone number on the opt-out form, so you could certainly call them to see if you have to register as a
And I
customer.
wonder if they're gonna charge us to do this.
They will charge you. Yeah,
There's-
you can't get rid of trash for free.
There-
So they're gonna charge you to get rid of the
So,
trash.
so yes, there are fees associated with them, but they are out of the scope of this board meeting. And we don't have, you know, even if I knew the price and I told you the price of one station today, they could change their price tomorrow and that would be invalid. So I would
Okay.
encourage you to contact them.
Is there one down, you said it's at Board of Health, is there a paper downstairs somewhere people can grab it, maybe on the desk? I'm putting you on the spot, but I don't know.
We can check and see if there's some at the desk. I'm not positive if there's outside, and I don't have a key for the office.
That's fine, I can come back tomorrow.
Yeah, come back tomorrow and we'll have it.
So maybe we'll just put some on that table in the
Yep.
front. Okay.
That's all my questions.
can I just say, they are available online. We'll make sure they're at the counter. And if worse comes to worse, call our offices and we'll get one in the mail to people.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Nope, someone else is taking my spot.
Not gonna say much. Quiet.
No, they didn't.
Gary Peterson, Prospect Street. Are you gonna vote on the rates this evening, to set rates that they're gonna be? Is it gonna be the $39? That question I have, I'd just like to know what I'm opting out of if I choose to opt out. It's hard to opt out when you don't know what the rate is. That's all.
Well, I've learned a little bit tonight, so I'm gonna fib. I know you're gonna run the numbers to get back to us, but the reality is if, we are recommending the Board of Health remove the pay-as-you-throw, if they don't, and that comes back, we're gonna redo all the numbers again, and
So
that
we
would,
won't know before the opt-out
Yeah.
deadline.
We've
We're not
also
gonna know
mentioned
what we're up
to the gentleman on several occasions that if he has a challenge in making that decision,
yeah,
give us a shout.
okay.
We will do everything we can to accommodate extending the time period for him to opt out.
So right now, we're at that,
At that period. Okay, no,
with the hope that
just a question.
no one else opts out in the
No,
community.
Just let me know.
I know your door's open.
We'll do everything we can.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I
So the
appreciate it.
March 23rd date, is that in stone that we have to tell you?
That's so we can run the numbers to make sure we know how much it's gonna cost a month, so that's what we're waiting for, is for folks to give us, are you gonna be in or out of the program, because then we can run the numbers.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else, anyone online that has a question? All right,
The only other thing I would ask is please do look through the regulations we've given you. If anyone has a question or a concern, please get it to me as quickly as possible so that next Thursday morning, after we're through the Board of Health, I can finish the rewrites and get it into your package for April 1.
do we know when the next Board of Health, meeting is?
Next Wednesday evening,
Okay.
at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I believe they've given me the courtesy of making me towards the front of the agenda. And I will be there to present your request.
Okay. And I imagine coming out of that, if we need to have a meeting sooner, if we need to have a meeting sometime next week, if there needs to be a change or an adjustment, you'll let us know, or we'll have an emergency meeting of some sort.
Well, he could still add it to next Wednesday's agenda, since we will be meeting formally.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that, because we need to have if that isn't voted to remove, it needs to be a public hearing.
April 1 is,
Yeah.
based upon Wednesday, I believe it's the intention of Republic and Schaefer and I to now go into weekly meetings with them. We'll continue with our team meetings here, but we will now be much more interactive with Republic, because they have a lot at stake in this going smoothly also.
Okay. And this seems like an odd question, but I imagine these went to the planning board or zoning just to look at, just because it mentions like dwellings of 4 units shall, I just know they have like certain.
That was a request of the planning board.
Okay. All right, then I won't get in trouble with them. All right. Nothing else on my side. Is there anything else that any concerns about these that are in front of us right now? All right, do you need us to vote on anything else?
No, I truly have what I need
Okay.
to move forward, and we'll be back here in 2 weeks to hopefully put the first permanent ink on it, subject to changes that evolve over your first year or 18 months of administration.
All right. I can't believe I'm gonna say this next item on the agenda. It's only 8. Sewer abatement, and privilege fees. Thank you, everyone. So, just looking at.
This has gone through some impromptu input to the board during citizen comment, public hearing, additional impromptu input, a vote by the board with respect to the accessory dwelling units. And on the second page, you'll see that the waiver of the fee for the ADUs is waived if they are eligible to use the existing sewer connection to the current discharge line. In other words, no new cut. And if they are not able to use that existing sewer connection, and they need to install a new discharge line, making a separate and dedicated connection, again, a new cut into the system, they shall be charged, but at the rate of 20% of whatever the privilege fee is at this point in time. So unless there are questions, I would seek your vote on this tonight.
Any questions, folks?
Not this time for me, and I think it's a good compromise for the ADUs, as we discussed last time.
Yeah, I didn't see much of a change. All right, do I have a motion to approve the red line edits in the regulations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. All right, now we're gonna go to the next topic.
Suggest or make any changes, if you could refer to them by the number that they are on here. Basically, we're going to have 3 finalist interviews next Wednesday at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock, 45 minutes each. Each of these questions will be asked by David, and then at the end, we can all ask follow-up questions as time allows. In addition to the 5 questions listed in front of you, the next page is a written assignment that I would, or the search committee would send out to the finalists to prepare and have them submit to the select board by 5 PM on March 23rd.
I like them. I will say question 3. I'm sitting in this meeting thinking of adding not only the select board, but other boards and committees. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
as it expand it, because we've seen a lot of, I mean, the focus is our board, but we've had to deal with interconnections of other boards.
Okay, so adding that.
And then, I mean, all in all, I think,
How about, instead of framing this out, if you joined West Boylston and found, what about, tell me about a time?
You are reading the question.
No, he didn't go all the
just
way.
did that
Reading
one.
the
He
question.
didn't go
So
all the way.
number 4, you mean?
I don't know how to say it, but you are reading, you are giving the
Yeah.
question out.
As,
Okay, yeah, all
in
right.
another position, yeah,
Sure.
like another,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
All right,
tell me about a time
Yeah.
that this happened.
I'm not going again.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna go that
This is
far.
fun.
This is harder
I
than
know.
that.
But apply that
Yep,
behavioral thing across the
Got it.
board as opposed to,
I know we said 5.
what?
She's trying to add a 6th question.
No, I'm trying not to. It's only because I've been sitting
We
here.
have to
and-
understand there's only 45 minutes, and so,
Yeah, but only one person is gonna read all these, so they should be really quick.
but I know there's gonna be follow-up
yeah, there's
questions.
follow-up questions.
this
and
board?
You have to give somebody some time to,
I would
process.
highly recommend that we maintain these 5.
I mean,
think-
even at 45 minutes, you're talking about like 8 minutes a question.
It's really not a whole lot, and then questions, additional questions, and
Right.
I do think
We
that
generally
the,
also, sorry, we also
homework
generally want to
assignment.
give time for them to ask us questions back as well. Sorry.
I just,
Are you gonna bring bread? Because you just shot me down without knowing. I can't say it. I can't think of like, I
the-
feel like it's charades or
The
something.
bread
You
producer,
can, like,
the bread producer is on the call, so you can address your questions to her. Thank you.
you guys can ring me.
Have you figured out how to mill your own flour yet? Or, no?
All right, so we're good with all this. The homework assignment looked good. But my only thing is, so after the initial meetings, after the interviews, this will be sent out.
no,
No, before?
I'm
And they'll
gonna
bring
send
it?
this out tonight. They will send these all back, have them compiled, and distributed to the board prior to their interviews. And we'll have the interviews that night. We will not discuss the interviews that night. On April 1st is when we will convene again at our regular meeting to discuss and take a vote if we choose one of them to move forward with.
That sounds wonderful. Do you need a motion on all that?
Sure.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to have the plan look like what we just articulated.
Yeah.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay. I don't. Carter, do you have anything you'd like to tell us in your town administrator report? You could say no at this point, I would understand.
Doesn't sound like you've been doing very much.
I
Ryan.
doesn't.
I did.
You did? Go for it. I was just, I'm giving,
When did you get a
distribute it in
bus
writing
driver's
if the board
license? Because you're
prefers.
backing that bus up really well.
go ahead. I was like, well, I wasn't sure if you had anything.
Okay, I'll burn through it as quickly as I can. 3 minutes.
Okay.
Go, yes. We've finalized the text and the draft warrant by mid-next week. We do have a budget for numbers. We're just compiling all that for the Finance Committee and this board. Superintendent Riley and I had discussions with Representative O'Day in an effort to secure some of the state's supplemental FY26 budget. There's more money being yielded by the millionaire's tax than they planned on. For FY26, it's transportation and education only. For 27, it's for more.
That's a one-time though, right? We wouldn't be able to fund roles or staff people, it's just a one-time surge.
You'd have to see how it's possible, yes. The budget versus actual is running pretty good, other than snow and ice. $250,000 deficit to date, so think spring. Some of our smaller departments have begun to run into trouble in their utility accounts, so what we're asking them to do is to roll out their burden rate through June 30, and we'll start to try to look for fixes. Executive assistant in the TA's office, select board office, except for one scheduling and process error for which we extend our apologies to the chair, and we know won't happen again. I think it's getting a fair grasp on the office. She's completed her mass ethics training. Corey training checks, completed the Mass Municipal Association introductory course on workers' comp, created our online portal so we can access our workers' comp and other information online, arranged for Cabot Risks to come out to do a in real time visitation, and begun to make personal contact with the ABCC. On the open staffing issues, we did have 2 interviews, each with their pluses and minuses. It was open until filled, so we have posted one last ad on Indeed. If we get something between now and over the weekend, I'll reconvene the interview team. Otherwise, it is my intent to make an offer for that person. The internal posting period for administrative assistant has passed, so now we're going to the outside sources. I'll work with Cheryl and Anna to, we're gonna have to keep the assessors open while taking care of Cheryl's needs as well. We had told you about some landfill monitoring requirements that we thought were gonna spike our cost by around $66,000. We've been able to work with DEP and get that number to around $50,000. DPW has a substantial backlog of Chapter 90 money. You have not done projects in several years. So I did get the outline specs today, did a quick review, sent them back to them. Also, I did review the drainage issue on Hosmer Road. I know the answer. It's not pretty. I'll explain it to Raj offline.
Okay. Real quick on that topic, prior to you coming, we had a list. I was going to try to find it, but we had a list of roads, and then it was priority of projects, right? So we went through that list, and I was told, because we had the same problem, we weren't using Chapter 90 money. We had a list of roads, and it was prioritized. It came in front of the board 3 times. And now you're saying to me, not you, we have a bunch of Chapter 90 money we haven't used, and I'm just wondering, can we just go to the list that was prioritized a couple times? Or
I've asked Tom to get quotes on updating your pavement management system, and I would suggest that you be guided by that. That list, I don't know if it was, I worked in one town where they tried to tackle the 10 worst roads every year. Horribly expensive way to go about it. I would get that pavement management system updated and be guided by that.
So we had a pavement management system, it's like $50K, and then we had another company come in to do an assessment and screening and provide digital mapping, and this was based off that.
Pavement management system is more than 5 years old.
I know that's why they said it's not worth updating that. We just paid to hire this company that came in to do all this, that the priorities were based on. That's a no.
It's stale. In my view. These should be updated every 5 years.
Do these Chapter 90 funds have a expiration on their earmarks, or they just
They do not, but as they sit there, you're just waiting for prices to keep going
No,
up.
sure, certainly their buying power is depreciating.
You have approximately $1.5 million.
How many years?
So this list was less than 12 months old. So that's why the company did this less than a year ago.
Then I'll look at it.
I was gonna say, he brought it to us and it was a company they recommended because ours was so outdated. So I would just say there is one I can look for, and it was in a select board meeting Heather brought forward, and then we reprioritized 3 times on that company's recommendation. I just wonder if
I'm
that.
happy to take a look at it.
It just might make your life a little bit easier, because it was
I
refreshed a year
would
ago.
respectfully suggest to the board that what makes life easier is that decisions implemented and are removed from the to-do list make life easier.
I agree.
100% agreed.
That's the problem with the select board. We assume they are implemented unless we.
Yeah, I think this board is actually a bit confused as to why, based on the meetings that we had with DPW at the time and they presented the list, I believe this board felt that they thus had their marching orders to move forward on those.
I think that's a discussion for you to have with your TA, because
I'm looking at them.
Well, it's not you. I was like, you weren't here. You got the.
you're not looking at this one.
I'm looking at the one that can make it happen.
I look and we're gonna get stuff for micromanaging, but I'm like, that was, it kind of stinks because we have to ask for an update.
I think there's a difference between telling someone exactly how to do it, when to do it, and laying out the policy, making the policy decision such as you did tonight, and then having the right to hold the town administrator accountable for the performance of those tasks. I personally don't consider that micromanagement.
What was
I
that?
frankly see that as the board's role, your policy, I'm staff. Not my job to do your policy, and with due respect, not your job to do my staff functions. But there is a symbiotic relationship there.
There's some people in the back I don't think heard you.
No, I get it. So, all right, that was just.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I
Did that
have
come
a
out of my
question.
3 minutes?
I do have one question.
7.5.
May I know how many years we didn't use the chapter 90?
I would say,
I thought we are
based
just-
upon my knowledge of your allotments, 3+.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why?
So last year, we didn't use it because the chapter 90 money came in late. So all the asphalt, they closed it. That's
Okay.
why we didn't use it.
Yeah.
So
But
I
then-
don't know about the previous year. I thought we used it.
So,
I'm working off the best information
I-
available to me, and it's not necessarily.
No, if you have the
I
money,
think-
that's good.
I think we can move that to a future topic to discuss and make sure that implementation is clear on both sides. So,
That's-
thank you.
That's my intent with the budget, is my normal practice that DPW should be presenting their chapter part of the annual budget process, so that it's out to bid and you're getting work done from June through
Agreed.
November. Solid waste team, I have responded to, my office has responded to almost 70 emails. We have given you all of those, the answers or the comments in bold. It does work backwards because it was the easiest way to swipe them and plug them in. And I have fielded about 25 phone calls over these past 3 weeks. I've already spoken to you about Republic. We have submitted our storm damage assessments for Winter Storm Fern, hoping to make some recovery. I've already spoken to you about the Board of Health. I will tell you that I have started the process. I've imposed it upon CMRPC, if you will, to apply for a grant to help fund Phase 2 of your master plan. I'm a little uncomfortable because it is the staff's responsibility to come to you and to obtain approval under Chapter 44, Section 53A for the receipt of grants, and it is my view that that approval should come before the grant is applied for, not oh geez, guess what I did? So I'm telling you tonight, we'll have it in front of you. As one of your members knows, I got this email at about 3:30 yesterday, at some point yesterday, that I had to get this done by Friday. It's in process, and I apologize for leaping ahead, but we needed to do that. Finally, there is a,
On that topic, thank you for taking action.
I just made CMRPC do it.
Good enough.
There is a celebration of the 150th birthday of the Beaman Library on Thursday, April 10th at 7 PM, if you're able to make that. And we will get this scanned and out to you tomorrow. And with that, thank you for letting me make my report.
Just a quick question about the cost recovery from the winter storm. Might that help with the deficit, for the 250?
and ice.
If not, what are we thinking for that
So
plan?
so the odds are that, first, there's been a declaration made by the governor, and to some extent, the president. Remember that FEMA today is not the FEMA of 10 years ago. To what extent it exists, and to what extent it has monies, and to what extent they're directed on the basis of political whim. You're a blue state. We don't know any of that just yet. But even under the best of circumstances, it can be 18+ months before you start to see any of that money. So that's not going to hit your books anytime soon.
Is there a plan then for this deficit?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so thank you, Carter. The next ones are meetings, invitations, and announcements. So this year, our West Boylston Townwide Cleanup will be on Sunday, May 31st, from 8 to 12. There is an online registration form. This will, I will have bags set up by the building department for folks to pick up the yellow bags to do townwide cleanup. And we will have light refreshments back at the town hall. Carter, I owe you a request. Normally, Republic donates a dumpster that gets put down at the DPW, and everybody comes out and puts the yellow bag on the side of the road. This year, DCR has actually, or they want to put together their own team. They're going to come out the week before. I also notified DCR because they actually drive around sometimes and pick up the yellow trash bags, because I was trying to figure out where they all went in certain locations. Jim is usually happy about that because I make him drive around to pick up trash bags. And then normally the DPW does have someone on for, I guess they have to be on for like 3 hours for some, so
Okay.
they're on and they'll drive around and pick up.
That'll be
larger
the
ones.
date that I got in the email today. I'll connect with you tomorrow on what size the dumpster needs to be and such.
Big. No.
Big.
Usually Tom handles it and it's down there.
Okay.
I have no.
I'll ask them what size they.
We are not going to do a textile drive this year. There are textile bins that are located at our recycling center. Last year, there were some issues with it getting here, and we had people dropping bags of textiles in the town hall, and people were very upset with me, so I'm not going to go through that this year. We're not going to do textiles. You can drop your textiles at the recycling center, and they have multiple bins there for you. And if you would like to donate or start running this will be my last year running this for the town, so it is looking for someone to keep this going. Someone new and that's excited to do that. So anyone that's looking at running that would be awesome. It's very easy, and I have no other reports. Anyone else? Any future agenda items? I have about 70 future agenda items, but I'm gonna keep them to myself.
Do we need to make sure that Chapter 90 discussion funds are, do you feel that those should be on future agenda, or do you feel that?
It is my hope to submit it with my budget package.
Yes, I guess what I mean is the execution on those funds. Do we need to discuss that at a future meeting, or do you feel that that's, or we can discuss that, add that to the packet later after you discuss with DPW.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I think it should be, I think there are some improvements that you could make in your policies, particularly with your expectations of what the annual budget process is going to be. Starting with a workshop for you to set your objectives, which drives the budget, which drives your evaluation of your town administrator, and expectations of what's gonna be in that budget package. I do think there's some improvements that you could make.
That reminds me, we need to set our monthly brainstorming session date for April. Thank you.
I'm so excited. What date would you all like to do?
That's April of '27, right?
Good try.
Well,
Last time we did a Tuesday. We could do a quick 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, if that works.
Hold, please.
can we do it before our select board meeting?
Like right before?
On the 1st?
The whole point is to have like a
No, not
brainstorming
the
session.
Because I won't be here, so.
I say April 7th at 5. Does that work for people?
I really wish I could say no. It's the day after Easter. I might have too much candy in my system. I guess that'll be fine.
7th is a Tuesday.
So Tuesday at 5. Jay, you have nothing going on. Raj?
Never.
Yeah, this is wonderful. I'm very excited. Let's do
So
that.
glad I got
We wanna do
reminded.
it here?
Well, the whole point of having the brainstorming session was that it wasn't super formal. So there will be no votes. It won't be, as formal as this. It'll just be open discussion, door open.
Do we want to use
Meeting-
one of the classroom spaces
Can
at
I,
the
can I
senior center?
suggest you do it in planning, because this is a very formal,
Yes,
it's not
Our
conducive,
judges
really.
table? All right, planning room?
planning room.
We'll check in the morning to make sure it's available for you.
All right. Carter, I sent you a list, because we always get in trouble with this. We have a bunch of expiring committee and board members that either are an appointment for select board or an appointment for town administrator coming up. And you're gonna get stuck handling it. And what I don't wanna have happen is what we've had happen in the past, is we have a bunch of people taking votes that have been expired, never got to read something downstairs, and then their vote doesn't count. So all that kind of weird stuff. So I sent you the ones I knew that were coming up. I would say we also updated the policy, so it wasn't like an auto renew or something, because a lot of people, the public said, you never offered anyone else to take it. It's been the same people for 400 years and we're not happy. So I'm saying all this to you because you don't know all of this and you're about to enter into, I think, 15 of them that someone will call you about, and you'll go, I only think about budget and trash. Okay? All right. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I need a
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.